filling in nicely for this final regular season home game for North Dakota State. Why it's a non-conference game. Originally, when the Valley schedule came out, the Bison were scheduled to have a bye this week, and the administration thought, well, they think they'd be pretty good. They didn't want to have two byes heading into the postseason, so they scheduled a non-conference game. St. Thomas, which is now in its first year of postseason eligibility, was saying, well, we'll take the game check of $200,000, and they're here for a game.
And I like it, right? There's a little bit of a local flair. There's guys on the St. Thomas roster for sure that we're at least talked to or we're interested in playing at North Dakota State. Obviously, we know how many Minnesota players play for NDSU, so there's that local flavor as well. And like you said, I think that's so screwy that sometimes there are a bye week. South Dakota's experiencing it right now.
Correct.
It's interesting. So yeah, get another game on the schedule.
We're getting ready here for the Kraus-Anderson coin toss. You can see, look at that group of seniors, how much they have gone through, from Cole Payton sitting for 4 years to get his chance. Chris Harris was a walk-on here that became a team captain. Logan Kopp has been playing for the better part of 4 years, and Jackson Dutenever, no surprise, he got the loudest ovation from Mandan, North Dakota.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's in-state prospect, but what he had to go through for that injury and wondering if his career was going to get cut short, and you're right. And now we're approaching, you know, it's now that time where every time there's a senior class that comes up, you're talking, they stuck around.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely guys, Bryce Lance maybe at the top of that list, Cole Payton for sure, guys that could have left, and they stuck around. And I mean, certainly as an alum, I mean, that makes you proud that those guys decided to stay here at NDSU.
Tyler Downs, our referee, to handle today's coin toss.
St. Thomas, you are the visitors today. You're going to call heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads. St. Thomas calls heads. Sean is going to flip it for us today. Sean, you're going to flip it, let it hit the ground. St. Thomas calls heads. It is tails. North Dakota State, you've won the toss. North Dakota State has won the toss and elected to defer. You want to receive the football? Which way do you want to kick? All right, let's spin around over here. Right here. North Dakota State will receive in this end zone. Here we go, guys.
Sean Doberstein doing the coin flip. He's a Jets fan. That's the first Jet win they've had all season long. Let's go down to the third member of our team with our first Peterson Farm Seed sideline report. Here's Sam Getzinger. Sam, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Dom. You know, last week head coach Tim Polisek telling us that they left some yards out there when it came to the run game, and part of that was because of the offensive line play. He says they're just not in a spot right now where they can play five guys consistently for the entirety of the game. Now, rotating in players is nothing new in the game of football, but he's hoping that that unit will stop taking turns when it comes to making the block, and that also means that he's hoping to see more consistent play, especially with the postseason right around the corner. He's hoping that they can find some answers before that first round of the playoffs. As for the St. Thomas side, they know they're in for a battle today. Glenn Caruso telling us that this is the toughest team that the Tommies have played in program history, but they're treating this like a bowl game since they're not postseason, or they didn't make the postseason this year. So they're coming into the Fargo today with nothing to lose. Guys?
Thanks, Sam. Glenn Caruso, former Bison assistant, in his 18th year in guiding the Tommies, a mark of 164-38. They racked up titles in the MIAC. They moved up to Division I football in 2021. They won the Pioneer Football League championship in 2022, but were ineligible for the postseason. They have a mark of 7-4 this year. Tim Polisek on the back end of his second season at North Dakota State, a mark of 25-2, trying to accomplish something that hasn't been done around here in 6 years, an unbeaten regular season. Nice crowd, as I mentioned, is filled in here on this final Saturday. We will keep you abreast of everything going on. We're without drama here today, but it's not like that around the country.
No,
there are some big-time games happening.
There are people stealing bids all over the place. Obviously, a big game happening just up the road here from the Fargo Dome with UND and South Dakota State. A lot of things happening around the country.
Eli Ozick will put it in the air. Quentin Cobb-Butler and Eli Paulson are back deep for St. Thomas, as off we go with Bison football on WDAY. A fair catch will be signaled by the Tommies as they will begin their opening drive at the 25-yard line, as we'll get a look at their offense, which is going to have a change today. Starting quarterback Andy Peters out of the lineup, which means backup Amari Powell will start. He'll have these guys protecting him. Freshman at left tackle and Charlie Cayley Take a look at his backs. Patrick Bowen is one of the top running backs in the Pioneer Football League. Keep an eye on Joseph Cook as well. Wide receivers with Todd, who's got 3 touchdown receptions on the season. Powell's only had 33 pass attempts. This is quite the initiation here today against this Bison defense. Cook will get the carry on first down. Got tripped up. Got a couple out there for Logan Kopp, senior on senior day. Makes the tackles, which you due to that Bison defense, which has been nearly top rated all year. Jack Giuliano in there with Kelton McCaslin out of the lineup. We mentioned Kopp, Staling, and Woolen, the best linebacker core in FCS football. Jalen Duffy is back with Gibbons. Jalen Crumpy back as well. And Anthony Shademi Alfaro. Scary thing, Kyle, with the Bison defense getting healthy in game 12. Cook got a yard. It's 2nd down and 9. They'll try a little trickeration for Jason Todd, and that's going nowhere. Nathaniel Staling on the play.
And you just talked about him, Dom, and I think you're right. I think Coach Polisek was asked about this linebacker. Watch 52 Nathaniel Staling all over that, right in the middle of your screen. He's all over this. Notices the jet motion. He's all over it. Wasn't fooled by it. And again, you see this group has been unbelievable. We've been hearing about Nathaniel Staling from defensive coordinator Grant Olson for years, and he shows up right there on the first play.
Already his 7th TFL of the season. I'm really intrigued when the Missouri Valley All-League votes come out. How many Bison have first-team linebackers? All 3 of them could be. No gain of the play. Makes it a 3rd down and 9. Powell will throw for the first time. That is incomplete. Donovan Woolen able to break it up. They were trying to hit Patrick Wagner. And it's a quick 3 and out for the Tommies.
And I think Woolen does this as good as anyone in the country. Again, you're sitting in his zone coverage, but watch how quickly he reacts. Right? When you're playing zone, you're okay giving up that 4 or 5 yard completion, especially on 3rd and 8, but then you have to be able to break on the football. Woolen does that about as good as anyone in the country.
Elliot Huther into punt for St. Thomas. All-League Jackson Williams. Boy, what an adventure he had returning last week. End-over-end kick that Williams is going to let bounce. Well, it's going to take a St. Thomas bounce as well. Look at that. Look at this. Inside the 20. Nice punt from Hitter as it goes all the way down to the 17-yard line, and that's where North Dakota State will begin on offense for its first possession. As you look at this offensive line, we've talked about it plenty. The same starters will be out there today with Tosted at left guard starting his 12th game. Cole Payton back out for another start, his 12th of the season, combined already for 25 touchdowns. Keep an eye, of course, on Bryce Lance and Raja Nelson. Lance, who got in the end zone last week, that ended a 4-game touchdownless streak. It's spotted at the 18-yard line as Payton will sling it on first down. There's Raja Nelson, the 6-year senior, up with a reception. They'll mark him down to the 25-yard line for he was brought down by Joseph Abeto as you meet the St. Thomas defense. Cole Sneed him on the outside for St. Thomas with 4.5 sacks on the season. The linebackers, Ryan Seaver is probably their best player, number 10. He's the leading tackler from Benilde St. Margaret's. And you saw Abeto make that play on the back end. 8 to Raja on first down. Here's Barika Penu. Look at the cut. Makes another one miss. Look out. Penu into the open field. Can anybody catch him? Down the sideline. No. Touchdown. North Dakota State. How about a 74-yarder on senior day?
There's the home run hit. We talked about this before the game, Dom. You said this might happen. I'll give you credit. You called this out. Watch his zone play to the outside. Look how many cuts. Look how many guys he makes miss right here. And I love this cut right there in the open field against the defensive back. And then he just runs away from everyone. We talked about how well he's done in the red zone. Hadn't necessarily seen the home run hit. Well, it didn't take long, and we saw it here today.
His 18th touchdown of the season. 74 yards. That's a new career long. Got an official that's down on the far side here. I didn't catch the end of the play. We're going to take a timeout here with 12:32 to go in the first quarter. The Bison on the board. It's 6-0 NDSU.
to sprint all the way down the field.
Like Dr. Pyatt's going to go over and take a look as well as they'll attempt this extra point from Ozick. What a start here. Second offensive play. Finds the end zone as Ozick bangs home the extra point. Timeout, 12:32 to go in the first quarter. 7-0 Bison. Bison football is brought to you by Shields, a proud partner of Bison Athletics. North Dakota State needs all of 2 plays, 82 yards, 48 seconds off the clock. Barika Pedu's 18th touchdown of the season, a 74-yarder to make it a 7-0 North Dakota State lead. Got to feel pretty good on senior day for that young man. As Ozick bangs another one into the back of the end zone. He's nearing 50 touchbacks on the season as St. Thomas comes on the field. Here's a word from the Bank of North Dakota.
Bank of North Dakota wants you to be confident with your student loan decisions. Before applying for a Federal Plus or private student loan, compare all of the benefits and terms with B&D's student loans. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
So the Tommy offense will come out for its second possession. St. Thomas has traveled coast to coast this year, Kyle, from San Diego to Florida to New York. That's the Pioneer League is far flung from the middle part of the country everywhere. You're going to put on the miles playing in that conference. Powell, a native of California, will throw here on first down. That broke it up. Woolen was in the area. Boy, he's flying today.
Yeah, and Powell is lucky that this one falls to the turf. You're right, Woolen was all over this. A couple different Bison defenders. Nathaniel Staling, I thought initially that one's thrown to the inside receiver. He's running the other way for a touchdown, but once again, these linebackers continue to show up defensively for NDSU.
Powell has played sparingly over the last 3 years here with the Tommies. Started 6 games back in 2023. Career high of 179 yards in their win over Valpo that season. Back to Cook here on second down. Woolen was in there along with Ryan Jones. The 2 Frisco guys making plays.
You see offensive coordinator Jay McIntyre to start that play. It's interesting there. Had all their offensive linemen kind of just standing in the backfield, rush up to the line, just trying to get, I think, anything, trying to create some miscommunication, some doubt on the back end there for NDSU, at least to get their first big, well, somewhat big positive play of the day.
Cook came in Over 400 rushing yards on the season for the sophomore and 6 touchdowns on the ground. Paulson goes in motion. Powell looking that way. Intercepted. Darius Givens comes up with a pick. His second interception of the season. Well, we got after the play here. Woolen was involved on the other end with Quentin Cobb-Butler. The Woolen-Larson cop down there. There's a penalty flag that was thrown. This happening after the play.
Well, and I was looking back after the play, and it looked like Dutenheffer was there with Powell, and I didn't catch what exactly happened, but someone wasn't happy about something, and then some more people got involved. I think they might get Donovan Woolen here for something after the play. Let's take another look at her. Excuse me, that was Logan Larson.
Yep. Yeah, you're always going to get the second man in.
The result of the play is an interception. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct foul. North Dakota State, number 1. His first of the game. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the dead ball spot. First down, North Dakota State.
You tell me this all the time. They're always going to get the second guy. They're never going to get the first.
They always do, yeah. And Quentin Cobb-Butler, number 3 there for St. Thomas, obviously up in the face of Logan Larson. If you take another look at this, I mean, it's an unbelievable play here by Darius Givens coming up just man-to-man on the back end, and he's just sitting there as a safety.
Yep.
Let's see if we can. Can't see the penalty right here. Great play there by Givens, though, to get the ball. Either way, it's after the play, so NDSU still retains possession, but obviously not something you want if you're Coach Polasek.
That one angle we had was the best to see it, and obviously Butler started it with Larson there. After you don't know what's being said, but he went in, at least from what we could tell. You could see, though, Polasek is hot on that. So after the penalty, you back the Bison. Here it is again. I mean, he engages there, and Woolen's just going in. Either way, it's an unsportsmanlike, so the Bison are backed up 15 to their own 38-yard line. Payton throwing for the second time. Zings this one over the middle to Chris Harris. Harris with a step. He explodes into the secondary all the way down to the 23-yard line. That's been a gain of 45.
Well, and it starts up front. Cole Payton had all day to throw this football right here, and we talked about this off the top. The Tommies came into this game with 30 sacks. They love to bring pressure. When you bring pressure, you pick it up as an offensive line or as an offensive unit, and you give your quarterback time, he's going to pick apart, especially a guy like Cole Payton. You're going to pick apart that back end, and that's exactly what he did right there.
Longest reception of the year for Harris, who's looking for his first touchdown of the season. You see how emotional he was running out of the tunnel. On first down, DJ Scott with a seam. Almost ran into Bo Johnson to slow him down. He moves the pile forward as Seaver's in there on the stop down to the 7-yard line.
Well, this Bison offense is fueling themselves right now. I mean, you can see the passing game is working. Now you see basically the same play we saw Barika Penu score the 74-yard touchdown on. Now it's just DJ Scott. He decides to keep it same side. Phenomenal job of opening up a hole and allowing number 7 to find some room.
Bison are now into the red zone with a first down and goal to go. I think Bo Johnson did a heck of a job on a tackle there from the 7-yard line. Penu is the back. He'll get it. Goes straight up the gut there. Met by a pair. Joseph Abeto, number 6, was in there to finish off the play for St. Thomas. Be a gain of 3 down to the 4.
And Barika Penu, as we talked about after his long run, but this is a guy. Typically, you get down in this red zone. There's a reason people are talking about him approaching not only the Division I record, but the all-time record for rushing touchdowns.
Which we thought may be unattainable, but with the playoffs, those count. Bentram has the record at 23. Barika's at 18. Your old teammate John Crockett at 21 in 2014. Second down and goal to go. Back to Penu. Look at the cut. Touchdown, North Dakota State. There's 19.
Well, and this is why he's so tough when you get down here. Maybe it's not blocked perfectly. You get a tiny bit of penetration in the backfield. But again, just understanding where I'm trying to go with this handoff here. Get a little bit of penetration in the backfield. But then it's just similar to what we saw in the long run. Just makes one nice cut, one more to get in the end zone, and he finds pay dirt.
can distinctly remember the day before he signed in December of 2020, Iowa State was calling. They wanted to say, hey, I know you're committed. Matt Campbell was trying to flip him, and he stuck true to his commitment and has become now one of the great backs in Bison Division I history. Extra point is up and good from Osick. 9:35 remaining, opening quarter. North Dakota State has extended its lead to 14-0. Bison football is brought to you by Sanford Health. We deliver exceptional health care. Here for all, here for good. Sanford Health. North Dakota State in the end zone for a second time. Barika Penu, 4 plays, 62 yards, 208 after the Darius Gibbons interception. Penu with his 19th rushing touchdown of the season makes this a 14-0 Bison lead. Osick adds another touchback to the pile. We'll check in down on the field with Sam.
Well, Don, this is a very packed and high-energy sideline over here for North Dakota State. After the events of that last drive defensively for the Bison, the effort while they were back here on the bench is just to reel everybody back in, get back into the flow of the game. Defensive coordinator Grant Olson absolutely pleased with what he's seeing so far. The message, just keep on playing smart football.
I have to imagine everybody saw what happened on the sideline, Kyle. Is exactly why he's trying to reel him in.
And you're right. I mean, it's one of the things. I think Woolen just came in a little bit too fast. I don't think he had any intention of knocking over Cobb Butler. But yeah, it's one of those things, just second guy in.
After the touchback, third possession for the Tommies. Back to Cook on first down. Gets a little bit of head of steam here as he gets out to the 30-yard line. Woolen in there on the tackle after a gain of 5.
Yeah, and this is what you need to do when you have a backup quarterback. You got to be able to run the football, and now they've fell behind the chains a couple different times. Putting Powell in third and long situations is not where you want to live if you're Jay McIntyre and head coach Glenn Caruso. So getting something positive on first down gives you the ability to stay ahead of the chains, open up the playbook a little bit.
The St. Thomas team scheduled, went out to Idaho, lost a close one to start the season. They knocked off Drake a couple weeks ago as they keep this on the ground with Powell, which opened, I think, some eyes. We know Drake is one of the best teams in the league, that if they would have won last week and had Drake lost, they would have won the Pioneer Football Championship.
Yeah, you're right. After that game against Drake, and they had to do that in the snow as well. Give them a ton of credit. That was an ugly football game. It rained, turned into snow. They found a way to come away with a win on the road. They had everything in front of them. And you said Glenn Caruso done an unbelievable job at Division III. He's already won the league when they were ineligible. Got high hopes for what they can do in the future here in that PFL.
3rd down and 3. St. Thomas Already 0 for 1 on third downs as Powell will roll out. Goes down the field. He's got Jayshawn Todd there who makes the reception. Jones will wrap him up, but not before he gets down to the 40-yard line. Big play here, a gain of 28.
Yeah, great play call. They bring Jayshawn Todd. You see him right there, number 4, come across the formation, and then just gets behind the defense with the play action, get him out on the bootleg, get him lined up against Ryan Jones there at 27, and then Powell does just enough to get him the ball.
Todd's one of their home run hitters. Grad transfer. First time the Tommies will play from the Bison side of the field at the 40-yard line. Powell slings this over the middle, hits his tight end on that one. A.J. Borman gets blown up there. Boy, a late hit. One of the offensive linemen clocked Woolen. It was Morrison finishing him off.
Yeah, this is where NDSU's going to take. They're not going to be happy about this. Watch 78 coming right here at the end.
Yeah.
At the end there on Donovan Woolen.
That's a big man coming in at 6'5", 347. There's a gain of 8 on the reception to Borman. Cook is the back. High snap. They fake to him. Slings this one. Intercepted. Picked off. That's Taylor Eady. His second interception in as many weeks.
Well, and this is a lesson for a young quarterback. It's a snap. You're right. It was high and it was hot, but you can see right there he's not ready for it. He's under pressure. Late over the middle is just a disaster. Taylor Eady does a great job of undercutting that, understanding the ball slightly underthrown, a little bit behind. As a DB, that's exactly what you want to see, and you could tell. I mean, this again, not the easiest environment, the easiest situation for Powell to be thrust into the starting role, but a couple big mistakes here early on.
I'll tell you, this guy is just getting better with each game. Edie, the redshirt freshman at the safety spot. We were talking last year, what are they going to do? That Sam Young's out, Wisniewski transferred. What are we going to do on the back end? Boy, they have produced some really good safeties. From the 18-yard line, Penu this time is wrapped up for the first time in this game. Ahmad Muhammad on the tackle for St. Thomas.
Yeah, and we've seen this a couple times of them getting some penetration, but a good job here by Muhammad of finally getting their hands on Barika Penu, not allowing him. So many times we've already seen early in this ball game where he makes that first guy miss, but good job there by 91 getting in the backfield and keeping his hands on him.
Penu still got a yard on that play. It's second down and 9 as we click down to 6:15 remaining. Opening quarter. Peyton wants a deep ball here from Mekhi Collins off his fingertips. That would have been 6.
Well, you're right. And again, once again, you see Barika Penu pick up the blitz there, do an unbelievable job, and you get one-on-one, and that's just one. There's not a lot to say, not a lot of analysis needed. That's just one Mekhi Collins is going to tell you he's got to come up with. Just short-handed it just a little bit.
Junior from Mankato, Minnesota, was looking for his first touchdown in about a month and a half. Third down and 9 for the Bison from their own 19-yard line. It's the first time they've been in third down yet in the game. Peyton wants a deep ball for Bryce Lance, and he's got him. Lance, see you later. 9-5 touchdown.
It's just becoming a little bit too easy. And again, I get to say it over and over again. This Trey Lance likes what he sees from his brother right there. You're going to bring pressure against NDSU. You better get home. And they almost get there for Cole Payton. But then again, this is just too easy. Bryce Lance just absolutely running by everybody. You just missed the one to Mekhi Collins. Bryce Lance wasn't going to let that one get away from him.
81 yards, his longest receiving touchdown. That touchdown streak is a thing of the past after being held out of the end zone for 4 straight games, now 2 in as many. Extra point up and good from Ozick. 5:58 to go, opening quarter. The Bison have exploded out of the gates. It's 21-0 for the home team. Back inside the dome, 21-0, North Dakota State with the lead. The Bison need all of 3 plays, 82 yards, an 81-yard touchdown pass from Cole Payton to Bryce Lance, the 9th longest pass in Bison football history. Results in Lance's 6th receiving touchdown of the year, and it's 21-0, Kyle. The Bison are with 226 total yards of offense. Todd is going to return this. Gets up the field. Nice tackle. The ball may have come out there for a second. Dynamite tackle. That was Preston Brown, the backup quarterback, coming in there. Young man, he might play quarterback in this game later today.
Right, he's just a phenomenal athlete. You see him on special teams, a great job of getting down the field, kind of weaving his way and finding his way to the ball carrier. It's not, I'll tell you, there's not many, I don't care if you're backup quarterbacks. I think of Taysom Hill for the Saints, but there's not many backup quarterbacks that you're going to throw out there on special teams. You got to be one kind of special athlete to be able to do that.
So St. Thomas back on offense for the 4th time. He's going to go to First Western Bank. Down in distance from the 19-yard line. Powell has thrown 2 picks, and we get a penalty flag. It looks like a delay of game.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You could know more about this than anybody, of knowing full well when the starting quarterback is going to be out or certainly going to be limited. The backup just doesn't get a ton of reps during practice week,
right.
And you don't know when Powell has found out, hey, you're going to be the guy.
That's right. We don't know when he found out. It could have been later on the week, and you just don't. You're right. You just don't get the same amount of reps.
After the penalty, they'll keep this on the ground. Bounce to the outside for Patrick Bowen Jr. Then wrapped up. Shadimi Alfaro flying in to make the play.
Well, it's a really good job here by Bowen Jr. You see the penetration on the right side there from NDSU, and for him to just kind of bounce off, it looks like he had something there. But again, Shadimi Alfaro, we've talked about him a ton, and not just his coverage ability. Obviously, he came up with maybe the biggest play of the year against North Dakota, coming up with that game-winning interception. But his ability to come up and help in run support has been impressive as well.
Bowen, a transfer from Long Island. 6 combined touchdowns on the season. On 2nd down and long, that's tipped in a penalty flag. I thought there was some movement before the snap.
Pass is incomplete. Penalty flag on the play.
We'll see what the call is here. Sure if it was an illegal shift maybe on the Tommies.
Illegal shift. Offense. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
So it'll bring up 3rd down here. Get another look here.
For the Tommies.
I don't know if there were 2 men moving or not.
Yeah,
I didn't see.
Couldn't tell from right there, but I'll tell you what, if Todd's able to come up with that, Logan Kopp, he was all over it, even if he was able to catch that ball.
That would not have ended well.
No.
3rd and 13. Powell will go over the middle. Todd makes that reception, but falls down at the 19-yard line. Just picked up 3, and it's going to be 4th down.
And I think Powell's feeling the pressure a little bit. Again, the snap a little bit off, throws him off a little bit, and he just kind of dumps us off. And it's obviously 3rd and a mile, and you need a lot more than that. But, you know, as a young quarterback, someone's, again, thrust into action. I think at this point, after throwing 2 interceptions, he's just got to see one caught by a white jersey, get some type of momentum, some type of belief back, and some confidence.
Almost decapitated the umpire there with that throw over the middle. It'll be 4th down. Hitter, who had a good punt his first time, in for his 2nd. End over end one that Williams will let bounce. He'll pick it up here and then brought down. Good tackle on the play. Like Paulson was in there for St. Thomas. As Williams a little slow to get up after that. That was an awkward way he went down. That's the biggest thing, too, about this last game of the year. Obviously, you want to get reps in, you want to look good because you know you're going to a week off. No injury. Got to no help, nothing injury-wise here.
Which is so much, obviously, easier said than done. I'm always of the mindset the more you think about it, the more you're kind of happy. You just got to go out there and play. I mean, it's fluke things obviously happen. Yep. Injuries are part of football, but at the end of the day, you just go out there and play, and hopefully both sides come out healthy. Bison
will start at the 36, leading 21-0. Peyton goes to the outside. Here's Jackson Williams. He looks okay to me. Gets up the field before he's brought down to the 49-yard line on the play. Picked up 13 yards.
And a little bit of an adjustment here from defensive coordinator Wally Kaczynski. You could see there they kind of got out of their 3-4 look, less pressure. They do a good job of using Raja Nelson, the #1 outside receiver, to run off the corner. And then Jackson Williams was just able to sit there in the flat, easy pitch and catch.
His 14th reception of the year. His biggest came on that slant at Illinois State in the fourth quarter. The Bison finally got some separation to pull away from the Redbirds. On a first down, Pennu will dance inside, then fall forward. Max Mogelson, number 95, was in there on the tackle.
Tacklers led by 95, Max Mogelson.
And you can see right there, number 20, Charlie Boucher. I had to say his name at some point today, and I apologize because I know he's probably heard this a million times, but I'm a fan of the Water Boy. But Charlie Boucher, now no connection to Bobby Boucher, does a nice job there though of coming underneath, getting some penetration, and forcing Barica Pennu to make a cut early.
Picked up 4 as we're down to 3 minutes remaining in the first. 3 receivers to the top of your screen. Peyton looked that way. Now will wander, waiting. Will go wide open down the field. It's going to be a walk-in touchdown for Pennu. He was just waiting for it. His 3rd touchdown of the day.
And it's hard to cover for this long, Dom. I mean, Cole Payton, he looks one way. You see right here, he looks one way, he looks left, then he scrambles around, and Barica Pennu just absolutely gets lost. I mean, there is no one around him. This is, again, scramble drill. If you're short, go long. He goes long, and no one sees him.
There's only one zip code in North Dakota. He might have been in Minnesota zip code down there. 47-yard touchdown reception. His 3rd touchdown of the game. Extra point knocked through from Ozick. And with 2:51 remaining in the first quarter, it's 28-0 Bison.
And take a look at this right here. You can see Barica Pennu at the top of your screen. There's just no one there. I thought initially the Tommies did a really good job of covering everything up. That's why Peyton had to look one way, come back to his left, then scramble back to his right. And he was just waiting downfield with all eyes on him and no eyes on number 8 getting behind the defense.
Peyton is 5 of 6 for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, and frankly, he could be perfect because that was off the fingertips of Mekhi Collins, the one that was dropped. As you look at the Farmers Union Insurance scoring recap, another quick drive, 3 plays, 64 yards, 1:28 off the clock, with Pennu's receiving touchdown, his first receiving touchdown of the season.
Just been explosive offensively for NDSU, averaging over 24 yards a play, 37 yards a completion. We talked about this last week, but if there's any concern of them coming out and their focus, you put that to bed really quick.
No messing around with an inferior opponent, which, you know, they literally locked everything up 2 weeks ago, and we talked about this as Ozick's kick here is going to be fair caught by Jason Todd. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, well, the goal last week, well, to go unbeaten in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They did that. Goal today. All right, they want to go unbeaten in the regular season, and they've certainly come out and put their foot on the throat here to start.
And I think it's a sign of a really good football team. Coach Polasek talked about that this week. It's in our DNA to just keep pushing forward. It doesn't matter who you play. It really doesn't. At the end of the day, you have to look inwards, and you have to be able to say, okay, well, we want to get better. I don't care who we're playing. We want to get better. That's what they've been able to do.
Look at that score, Kyle, from
that's a shocker.
Normal today.
Yes,
Southern Illinois wins by 30 on the road over Illinois State. Southern is out of it, even with a 7th win today. They only have 6 Division I wins as this is slung out to the outside. Quentin Cobb-Butler on the tackle as Woolen zooms in on it. Illinois State, though, I thought had a chance at maybe a top 8 seed. That's over. They're going to Thanksgiving weekend now with that loss.
I thought they should have been a top 8 seed, and I'm shocked. I mean, Southern Illinois, we were talking before the game, the team that feels like can beat anyone, but they can't finish games. And evident what they did last week against South Dakota, where they had a 17-point lead in that one, and they blew that one. We saw them here in the Dome. I mean, they were talented, but there's some turnovers and different things, but they obviously found some things in Normal today.
So the Redbirds are in at 8-4. We'll find out their playoff fate tomorrow morning. On 2nd and 10, boy, the pressure coming in on Powell. He got blown up. That's Matthew Stenbrotten.
Yeah, and this is a quick pass to Stenbrotten. We saw this a couple times last week too. A Bison defensive lineman. Coach Polisek talked about this in his press conference as well. A couple times where it's just a quick now route, and you're still getting guys into the backfield. That's always a good sign. Whether that's dialed up from X's and O's or whether it's just Stenbrotten winning one-on-one, you get pressure in the backfield that quickly. That's a winning formula.
Stenbrotten had 2 monster plays in the win 2 weeks ago in Grand Forks. Here's a 3rd and 10. St. Thomas 1 of 3. Look, getting a low snap to Powell. Floats this one. That's airmailed for Cobb Butler. And it's going to be 4th down and another quick series for St. Thomas.
And Powell's trying to fit this again, another low snap. He's had a couple issues with that pressure coming. You could tell he's trying to fit that in a tight window. You got your corner underneath, safety over the top, and just floats it, as you said, Dom, just a little bit too much.
So Hitter is back for his 3rd punt of the quarter, with Jackson Williams standing at his own 40-yard line. Floated with that, boy. Preston Brown was in there. Good punt this time as Williams is all the way back to his 25-yard line. Got hemmed in there, and he's going to get pushed out of bounds. Got out to about the 33. Looks like a late penalty flag was thrown over there, too, on the far side. Couldn't tell what was happening over there.
Yeah, there's been some chippiness kind of early on, especially after that Donovan Woolen penalty. We saw both sides, offensive linemen come jumping into the pile late.
Tyler Downs, our official today.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct foul on the return team, number 17, his first of the game. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. 1st down, North Dakota State.
That's Isaiah St. Romain on the penalty out right there.
Yep. Well, if you wanted something to talk about with your coaching staff, I know it's
well,
28-0.
Got 2 of them now.
That's right. Got to keep your cool.
Yep. Saw that last week with Jackson Williams getting flagged on the throwing the football after the kickoff or the punt return. So that'll back up North Dakota State to its own 20-yard line, up 28-0. Peyton changing the play. Hand off to DJ Scott. Look at the hole here off the left side. Cuts back in and finally brought down on the play. Not before he gets out to the 35 is Finley in there on the tackle.
Well, this is a good look at him. You see Trent Fraley pull around there, and you just see how wide that gap was. I believe that was Carson Williams, the tight end on the outside, able to push that edge defender even wider. And you bring Fraley around. A nice run there by DJ Scott.
Update from the Brawl the Wild game. A lot of importance on that. The number 2 seed at stake with Montana leading Montana State as they play in the 3rd. Gain of 16 for Scott. He'll get it again. This time met. Good tackle on the outside from Caden Nelson, able to wrap him up. Grad student picks up his 5th TFL of the season.
Yeah, Caden Nelson and Ryan Seaver both 31 and number 10. Guys to keep your eyes on all over the field last week in a game against Presbyterian where they did not score an offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
They had a pick 6. Defense did everything to try and keep them in that one. But again, we talked about it. 2 good linebackers on the St. Thomas side. Obviously, we know what NDSU has on their side as well.
Under a half minute to go here in this opening quarter. 2nd down and 9. Low snap there for Peyton. Gets this to the outside. That's hauled in by Williams. He gets pushed out of bounds out of the St. Thomas side of the field at the 48-yard line. That's a gain of 15.
Yeah, good job here by Cole Payton. Like you said, handling the low snap. He's got pressure coming on his backside, and a nice job of getting that one out. We see Jackson Williams really finding some success here on that near sideline, the NDSU bench. Just kind of going upfield, stop route, and showing himself to number 9. And he's, once again, easy pitch and catch.
That ends an explosive opening quarter for North Dakota State. Big play Bison show up to start this one. At the end of 1, it's North Dakota State 28, St. Thomas nothing. Second quarter is coming up. You're watching Bison football on WDAY. Back here inside Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome with Sam Getzinger, Kyle Emanuel, our great crew. I'm Dom Izzo. 28-0 North Dakota State with an explosive start to this game. Goes to work with a first down and 10 after the Williams reception on the St. Thomas side of the field to the 48-yard line. Scott runs into the pile there. He gets out to about the 43-yard line before he was wrapped up on the play. Picked up 5 yards here. It'll be second down.
And you see Cole Payton more times than not, or not, I shouldn't say more times than not, but often he will come to the line and he will check it. I got to imagine, couldn't see it right there on the replay, but he said he sees the too high safety look from St. Thomas. We've seen him walk up a bunch of players a couple different times in this game. He sees a too high safety look, understands I have a lighter box, checks to a run.
Seaver came into this game 82 tackles on the year to pace the Tommies. Gain of 5. It's second down and 5. Payton with all the time. What's another deep ball? Incomplete. Just overshot. Chris Harris was looking for his first touchdown of the year.
Yeah, trying for the home run ball again, and it's max protect, right? You only get 2 guys out in the route. You keep everyone else in to allow this route to develop. And it developed exactly the way you wanted, but just maybe the first miss we've really seen from Cole Payton today.
Just a little too much juice on that one. Will bring up a third down and 5. This is the last day for voters who have votes for the Walter Payton Award to take everything in as well, with he and Bo Brungard from Youngstown State at the top. He wants another one. Wide open! Touchdown! Jackson Williams right in the breadbasket.
Why not? Just keep taking shots downfield. We just see these Bison receivers over and over get behind the defense here for St. Thomas, and I believe this is 13. Brandon Smith, he just hesitated for just a second. Cole Payton, I think, noticed it while he's throwing the ball. Corner there for St. Thomas just hesitated just enough, and it allowed Jackson Williams to run right by him.
His first receiving touchdown of the season for the sophomore out of Omaha, Nebraska. They had the Omaha to Omaha connection there. We talked about that back in spring football. That could be something we see, and that is definitely developed this year as Ozick drills the extra point. Just 53 seconds into the second quarter, the Bison have scored again. New score reads North Dakota State 35, St. Thomas nothing. Bison football is brought to you by Shields. Be sure to stop by Shields for all your hunting needs this fall. Bison are back in the end zone on that drive. That one took 6 plays, 80 yards to 2:40 off the clock. Jackson Williams, his first receiving touchdown of the season, a 43-yarder from Cole Payton to make this a 35-0 North Dakota State lead. Todd will take this at the 2, cuts back in, good move there, then swarmed and brought down on the tackle. Peter Haugo in there on the stop for North Dakota State as St. Thomas comes on the field. A word from Shields.
Okay, scrapers in the car, winter tires are on, shovels are good to go. But the kids need new jackets. Good thing there's Shields.com.
Shields.com. Anytime, anywhere.
You know, I know you dealt with this more when you were playing the National Football, when teams either had stuff already clinched to how much your guys would play, especially if you had a bye the following week, as this is wrapped up as Cook goes for about a half a yard there as Kopp comes in. There's always coaches weigh that about how much, my point is how much your starter is going to play, knowing the Bison don't play next week. They're not going to play a football game for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got to imagine Coach Polisic already had a plan in place. You know, first and foremost, you got to go out and you've got to perform. You got to be able to execute. But I have to imagine he already had a plan in place. Things go the way we want to. When we're going to start rotating guys, when we're going to get Cole Payton out of the game, right? I think there's already a plan in place, and it might have been the first half.
See that 370 total yards as Cook goes off the right side, shakes off a guy, Woolen able to bring him down before he gets out, though, to the 32-yard line, or excuse me, 22-yard line, picked up 4.
Yeah, it's a good job here by Cook, again, against a really good player there, and Nathaniel Staling shaking off one tackle, at least getting to the outside and make this a little bit more of a third and manageable. But yeah, going back to your point, Don, this might be one of those things where Coach Bostic said, hey, starters, I don't care what the score is. You're going to stay in. You're going to be in the entire first half. I don't know. We'll see it when they start to roll guys in potentially. But it might have been one of those things determined before the game even started.
See, Nathan Hayes is getting loose down here in front of us. We'll see when he gets in. It's 3rd and 6 as Powell, that one incomplete. Todd was the clearest receiver in the area, but a little miscommunication there, and it's going to be 4th down.
Yeah, Grant Olson brings the house here, and Jayshon Todd trying to kind of you see 4 at the bottom of your screen, a little in and then back out, and the timing is just thrown off with the pressure there from NDSU, and Powell unable to find him.
Glenn Caruso back in this building for the first time in over 20 years. Former assistant under Bob Babich has turned this program into a behemoth, so much so in the MIAC they were asked to leave the conference. They were so dominant. That was part of the St. Thomas strategy of moving up to Division I in all sports. As Hitter nails a good punt here. It's going to take, though, a Bison bounce and be downed at the 37-yard line, as we'll take a timeout. 12:31 remaining in the first half. Bison with the football and leading 35-0. First half, Bison with the football after another St. Thomas punt. They've had it 6 times, 2 interceptions and 4 punts. Bison up 35-0 as Peyton will run here. Got wrapped up from behind. Seaver was in there on the play. Looks like Josh Magan may be down. That is, it's starting right tackle Josh Magan, who's down on the field right now for the Bison. Magan, who started all 12 games on the right side, a converted defensive lineman. Did not play offensive football until last year. Timeout here, 12:19 to go in the first half. Bison up 35-0. Back inside Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome, Josh Mangan needed help coming off the field. Could not put any weight on that right foot. Looked like he got rolled up on. So we talked about this in Bison game day with the tinkering in the O-line. Bo Johnson now slides over to right tackle. True freshman Ryan Babbitts is into the game at left tackle for North Dakota State. They'll go to Barika Penu here on first down as he cuts back up the field. Gets up to the 44-yard line and picked up 5. Seaver in on the tackle. We've been talking about this O-line combination for a bit. Now, if this is serious to Mangan, this might be the look they go with.
Yeah, and it's an advantage of being able to rotate people, right? I know there's obviously the negative sides, and people are wondering, well, why can't you just find 5 people? Well, one of the huge advantages is if someone does go down, you've already shuffled plenty throughout the season, so guys are definitely comfortable playing in different spots throughout this offensive line.
From the 44. Peyton over the middle. Caught on that one is Rajon Nelson with his first catch on senior day, playing in his 74th football game today. A new Bison record as he's out to the 34-yard line.
Well, a great job here by Cole Peyton of just kind of fit this one in between the zone coverage there. And yeah, how about Rajon Nelson? 74 games, unbelievable. How many? My era was 61, and we thought that was a lot. And this guy is just.
It is a lot.
It is, but he played early. He stayed healthy, got dinged up a little bit last year, but when he came in, he was obviously very effective as well.
He caught passes from Trey Lance.
Right.
That's how long he's been in college. On first down, here's Penu off the right side. Will cut back in as he gets down to the 32, picked up a couple of yards. Or he's wrapped up on the play as Muhammad in on the tackle for St. Thomas. Caruso is scheduled almost purposely here. They played Northern Iowa. They played South Dakota. They're going to go and play Grand Forks next year against UND. They want to have these games knowing full well that preps them for the Pioneer Football League.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, wants to see the best in the FCS, and obviously it's helped them out in their conference play as well.
Peyton wide open was Reese Kessel, and incomplete. Kessel had a chance to add to that streak. He's caught a pass in every game this season.
Well, in every game, it's usually 15 to 20 yards, if
That
not
would've been
more.
two.
A little bit of pressure there in the face of Cole Peyton, but you're right. Reese Kessel, we talked about Barika Penu getting lost on that touchdown before, and Kessel, there's no one around. He's probably walking into the end zone if he's able to come up with that one.
Be third down and 8 from the St. Thomas 32. 10:05 to go in the first half. Peyton slithers out there. Now waits, pump fakes here. Sings that. That's caught a reception by Mekhi Collins, who gets out to the 22-yard line and picks up a first down.
Well, more often than not, when Cole Peyton starts to scramble, he'll be able to find something downfield. There was nothing there. I mean, this is last minute, very last minute. He got 2 defenders bearing down on him, and at the last second, he finds Mekhi Collins and kind of off platform, off his back foot, still able to zing one in there and move the chains.
Yeah, you're right. That was about the last possible second he could throw the football. Hits Mekhi, though, for a first down to the 21-yard line. Clock running with 9:20 remaining in the first half. Back to Penu. Right up the middle there. Was able to churn the legs forward. Seaver was able to finish it off. As Johnson lost his lid, so he's got to come out for a play. That means Nate Steckloff will have to come in as the Bison into the red zone here.
Well, let's continue to shuffle along that offensive line.
Yeah. What I was asking about is you see Mangan there in some serious pain on the sideline talking with Dr. Bruce Pyatt. With Peyton being left-hander, that meant is we get a whistle here and a timeout going to be taken by St. Thomas as they'll spend their first of the half. That with Peyton being left-handed, that meant the blind side suddenly became the right tackle. Correct. Which I don't know if that meant more pressure on the right side, that Mangan has held it down through all 12 games so far this year.
Without a doubt, right? It creates that blind side, as you see right there. Not a good sign for NDSU. We saw him get rolled up there.
young man from Shakopee, Minnesota. Came here, actually, you think about this, Kyle, not too long ago, he was a defensive back in high school, which is scary for the size of he is, but he came here to play defensive line, wasn't going to move up the depth chart. They asked, hey, why don't you come play offense? He did that last year and played it well enough to earn the starting spot at right tackle.
Right, showing his versatility, and there's been a couple of different guys throughout NDSU's history, even go back to my time, and we've been able to do that and find success. And I think he's done a nice job, as you mentioned, for the most part, protecting that blind side. Now they continue to kind of rotate guys in, and that's probably why you see Bo Johnson, where I think they probably feel like is their best offensive lineman at times, moving over to that right tackle spot as well.
And for people that have not been watching Bison football maybe this year first time, Babbitts is the future. True freshman playing the left tackle spot. First time that's happened since Billy Turner did it back in 2010. He went on to be drafted in the 3rd round by the Miami Dolphins. On a 2nd down and 6. Panu tried to spin into that. St. Thomas read that one, though. They swarm on that play. Ryan Calcagno comes in on the tackle for St. Thomas.
Yeah, a couple different Tommy defenders. I think 42 right there. Take a look. I mean, does a nice job of just a little bit of a swim move, and once again getting some penetration. St. Thomas kind of selling out for the run and doing a nice job of it right there.
It's the first loss of yardage on the play. Be a 3rd down and 8 from the St. Thomas 19. Bison so far 3 for 3 on 3rd downs. Play clock down to 1 here. Barely got it off. Peyton surveys. Look at the time. Just waiting. Now we'll run with it. And he's going to get brought down from behind on the play. Good tackle. That's Evan Tyler who was in on the play. And it's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, 2nd time we're calling Evan Tyler. Not often you see Cole Payton get brought down from behind. And good job of just continuing to fight. You're right. I mean, he had all day. He's coming all the way from the other side, going against Ryan Babbitts and just continuing to run, continuing to pursue. Finds a way to get Cole Payton down to the ground with nothing open there on the backside.
This will be a 38-yard field goal attempt for Eli Ozick. It's been so consistent this year. Spot down, kick is up, and this one is good, just over the upright here with 7:14 to go in the first half. The Bison have added on to their lead now to make it a 38-0 score over St. Thomas. Ozick's been so solid this year, adds to his point total. St. Thomas about to get the football. Let's go downstairs for a Peterson Farm Seat sideline update. Here's Sam.
Well, Dom, you know, there's a pretty unique thing happening over at the St. Thomas sideline that's been going on throughout the year. Glenn Caruso in his 17th season. Not far behind him at any moment is his daughter, Anna Caruso. She's a part of the Tommy softball team, but she is also a big part of the coaching staff here. She helps dissect the tendencies of opponents throughout the game and is a big part of the decision-making late in drives for the team. She actually worked for the Vikings as well for a couple of years in their operations department. It's an interesting story with her. She went growing up asking, do I really have to go to the games, to now being a big part of the decision making for the Tommies.
That's awesome. That's a great story. Now, football brings families together, Kyle. That's awesome stuff. 38-0 the score. Fair catch going to be signaled again by Jay-Sean Todd. So St. Thomas will start at its 25-yard line. If you look at the Farmers Union Insurance scoring recap, 10 plays, 42 yards, 5:17 off the clock. Eli Ozick banging home that 38-yard field goal to make it now a 38-0 North Dakota State lead. Tommies are changing up quarterbacks here. Ryan Jackson will come in after the first few snaps or first few drives went to Powell. He'll sling this to the outside to Todd. Boy, listen, did an own spinorama on that for Najee Nelson. Will throw him out of bounds. That might be their best pass play, though, of the game.
Yeah, without a doubt. I was just going to say, good start here for Ryan Jackson. Nice play fake there, and then an absolute dart to the outside there to Jayshon Todd, something they just haven't really been able to get going at all with the 2 interceptions. Powell just struggled a little bit throwing the football, so I like the move here from Coach Caruso. Why not give someone else a chance, and a good start there for Jackson.
Redshirt freshman from LaGrange Park, Illinois. Gain of 9. Back to Cook here on 2nd down, and nothing happening there. Looked like Logan Larson was the first in on the tackle. Victor Isley joined as well. It's going to be 3rd down.
And I'll go back to that story, Dom, about Anna Caruso. I think that's so interesting. I mean, teams are always trying to find something, and whether it's obviously analytics have become a huge part of the game, but still just tendencies. And I got to imagine it goes beyond just. It's going to get detailed, right? Well, here's what they like to do on 2nd and 6 after a completion. Here's what they like to do on 3rd and 4. Like, it's going to go beyond that, and pretty cool story.
On 3rd down, they'll try to force his way forward. Will Jackson. What a pile there. No signal yet. I can read the lips of one of the side judges. Said 1st down. That's a much-needed one for St. Thomas.
Yeah, you see how many guys they get behind Jackson there to try their form of the tush push. See Keegan Huber, 23, jumping on the pile, trying doing everything he can to try and keep him from moving the chains. Obviously, a much-needed 1st down there for Ryan Jackson. He gets his first drive going.
Going to see Grant Olson has put in his backups on defense. Howe goes out there. Oliver Luck is out there at the linebacker spot. New set of downs for the Tommies from the 35. This incomplete. Jackson was trying to hit Todd there. Haugo was in the area. Brings up 2nd down and 10. Visiting with Olson earlier in the week. We want to make sure we're getting more guys in than we can. Get them as many reps as possible. We might need these guys come playoff time.
And always a great evaluation tool. We've talked about this a ton, but I mean, it's one thing to see what guys can do on practice, and you feel like they have potential. Okay, now let's put you in the game. It's still in the 2nd quarter. Still a lot of starters, obviously, on the side for St. Thomas. See what you can do.
Look at that score, Kyle. Montana State has gone up 10 on the road in Missoula as they play in the 4th. Jackson floats this to Todd, incomplete. Good coverage down the field from Keegan Huber. Had one of the best special teams plays. We got a late penalty flag, though, thrown way after the play.
Well, this was a unique one. They're going to call Huber for pass interference. The ref tried to throw his flag, actually threw
the beanie,
signaling like a fumble. Then went back in his pocket, then found the flag, and it came out late.
There is no foul on the play for pass interference. 3rd down.
So take the penalty flag off. And it's going to be 3rd down.
Here's a good shot at it. You see the side judge up there. Watch, here comes the beanie. Oh, that was the wrong one.
Yep.
Oh, let me go back. Oh, there it is. And then take it away.
Right. Glenn Caruso's been on the other end of teams getting up big, especially in this building. There's a former assistant here, and he's certainly seen some lopsided scores his time as head coach at St. Thomas. It's 3rd and 10. Jackson rolls, goes down the field, way out of bounds for Todd. And it's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, just way too much heat on this ball here from Jackson. Trying to layer one in once again. This is going to be a great look at it. You can see the underneath coverage, trying to layer it in right there to Todd. Just way too much mustard on that one. He sends it into his bench.
So Hitter will be back into punt. Raja Nelson back for the Bison at his own 24-yard line. Bison defense limited St. Thomas to 68 total yards. They nearly got after that one. Nelson will let this roll, which is going to be downed. Good punt. Another one from Hitter, as that'll go out of bounds at the 16-yard line, and that's where North Dakota State will take over on offense. With Cole Payton and the starters coming back out. Payton 9 of 12 for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half of this game.
Yeah, and he's about 3 to 4 feet away from maybe that number being 4 or 5. Just missed a couple. Saw the one to Reese Kessel just out of the reach. But yeah, it's been big play Bison here this afternoon inside the Fargo Dome.
Proceed halftime report coming up with Sam. Give you scores from around this final Saturday of the FCS regular season. Already some eye-openers happening. Try to determine the final playoff spots. Look at this hole for DJ Scott on first down. Shakes a tackler down the sidelines. Pushed out of bounds, but not before he got to the St. Thomas side of the field at the 45-yard line. That's a gain of 39.
Well, DJ Scott continues to be a nice compliment to Barika Penu. Again, you see the vision right there. Finds the hole, and then it's head down and breaks a tackle in the secondary. And a big play here for North Dakota State.
That matches his longest run of the season for the Oviedo, Florida native. Kennesaw State transfer who's finally healthy. Had a deal with a Lisfranc injury in his foot a couple weeks ago. Missed some practice time for the game against UND. And he cuts back up here. Makes another man miss as he gets down to the 28-yard line and picked up 17.
And this is what can happen. You commit so many guys up on the line of scrimmage. If you break through that first line of defense there for St. Thomas, as you see right here, he makes one guy miss off the edge, and there just wasn't a ton behind. Once again, DJ Scott, nice run play.
Bison are now up to 468 total yards of offense here with 3:40 to go in the first half. Back on the ground, here's Barika Penu trying to get loose, finally wrapped up on the play. Last time there, Obeto had the tackle. Well, that might have been another touchdown.
Great patience there from Barika Penu as well. I thought there was an edge defender that might have had a chance. He just gave him a tiny bit of a hesitation and once again found a lane. I got to imagine Coach Paul said one of the reasons he left these guys out there, hey, I didn't like the way we ran the football the drive before, left them in, said we're going to run the football in this drive, and they've done it with high success.
Bison are back into the red zone here with a first down and 10 and a timeout taken by St. Thomas with 3:03 remaining in the first half. Bison on the doorstep here of trying to add on to this. Remember, North Dakota State will get the ball to start the second half. Well, we're right in that middle 8 time that Polasek loves to feast on, which they've done this entire season.
He handed our own Sam Getzinger some stats, and Sam passed them on to me.
He did.
I read them last week. They were accurate. They're up to 109 points for NDSU in the Middle 8 compared to just 16. And then the interesting part about it, I circled here, 13 of those came against Youngstown State. So you take away that game, they've only given up 3 points in the Middle 8. It was against Illinois State.
Yeah, right before that's right.
People probably get tired of us talking about it, but it's kind of interesting when it's something you emphasize so much and how successful that NDSU's been able to be here at the end of the first half and to start the second.
So I was talking with trainer Trish Shannon. Get an update maybe on Josh Mang. See women's basketball coach Jory Collins here. Bison with a nice win last night over Tulane. They're heading to Jacksonville, Florida next week. We got some movement here before the snap.
Both sides got a point. I mean, Muhammad 91, he jumps, and then Fraley kind of reaches out and touches him. To me, that's going to go against the defense, causing the offense to move. We'll see.
False start.
Oh, never mind.
Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty.
That's on Fraley.
First down.
So they get the center, who's having a chuckle about it. Let's look again. So he's put his arm
so
up
Muhammad
there.
moves and he gets into the neutral zone. Then Fraley touches him. So that's one maybe as a center you just snap the ball, and that's where you get a free play.
So after the penalty, third against the Bison here in this first half. Mark it back to the 22. On the First Western Bank down in distance. Payton flushed here, and down he goes on the sack. St. Thomas brought it. Charlie Byrne was in there along with Seaver. First time today they get to the Bison.
Yeah, look, a couple different guys came off the edge there and again, we talked about this. This is what they do so well, and they have that 3-4 defense, and a lot of times they'll show one side. They'll bring pressure from the other. They kind of do a really good job of not letting offenses get settled in and understanding where maybe that 4th or 5th rusher is coming from.
Loss of 7. Bison going the other way here. Now 2nd down and 22. Seaver picks up half a sack. He's got 2.5 on the year. Back to Scott. Look at the hole there on the left side. Scats forward for a few. Looked like Nash Ticky was in there, number 30, the first, to wrap him up, and it's going to be 3rd down and long.
Well, it was a great job of getting a push along that left side of the offensive line for North Dakota State. I think you're right. I think Ticky coming up, or whoever it was coming from that safety position, did a nice job of closing that one down because it looked like there was going to be even more there.
That'll bring us to the 2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout.
North Dakota State driving, leading 38-0. Two minutes to go in the first half inside Gate City Bank Field at the Fargodome. 38-0. North Dakota State with the lead on St. Thomas. After that DJ Scott run, it'll be a 3rd down and 16 from the Tommy 23-yard line. Peyton flushed here. Now we'll take it. Look at the green grass here. Cuts back up the field. Gets brought down. Fumbled the ball. That came out. St. Thomas is on it. No signal yet. It is. It's Tommy football. Peyton fumbled it. And St. Thomas comes up with it. That's recovered underneath there by Brandon Smith.
And once again, it's great pursuit here from St. Thomas because Cole Payton, you're right, he has a lane, but it's so hard. This is where it happens more often than not when you're starting to go to the ground and someone comes up from behind. Now, it's tough to tell right there when that ball came out, whether his knee was down.
Yeah, they're going to look at that, Kyle.
Field is a fumble recovered by St. Thomas. That play is under further review.
That angle was not definitive. I can only tell from up here the ball came out. So he's down there. The ball is out.
I still don't see the ball.
Again, the ruling on the field is a fumble. Those two angles are not going to be definitive enough there.
I agree.
Well, his knee is down there. I just
right
know where's
there.
the football.
It looks like
knee is down there. Can't tell if the ball was jostling.
Right, just it's tough to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the ball's in his left hand there. It looks like he still has it secured when he goes to the ground. But again, you're gonna have to. It's got to be definitive. Either way, great hustle there. Again, St. Thomas went all out, brought pressure, got a guy into Cole Payton's face. He did a nice job of evading the rush, getting downfield. Would have been close to a first down. But then it was the pursuit from the back end. I think that might have potentially knocked the football
After
out.
review, the ruling on the field is upheld.
Okay.
First down, St. Thomas.
I don't know if they saw just a clear enough
I
angle
agree.
to overturn it. Again, they call it a fumble on the field. That's the first fumble lost by the Bison offense all year. The first fumble they had was last year on the Jackson Williams
Last week,
special
yeah,
teams.
yeah.
That came last week. That's super enhanced there.
Yeah, it looks like ball secure,
yeah,
elbow down, but
see, they're looking at Peyton's right eye there is what both Trish Shannon and Dr. Pyatt were looking at. This play gets blown up there. Jackson ran into his own running back as Bowen gets swallowed up. Looked like Vanderpool might have been the first to hit him.
yeah, a little bit of a disaster right off the start. Runs into the fullback, gives it to Bowen, and then there's 3 or 4 green jerseys already into the backfield.
Bison take a timeout here.
30-second timeout.
Trying to maybe steal an extra possession here with a minute 29 to go. We're going to add a few seconds back onto the clock with a second down coming up as we see Nathan Hayes starting to loosen up.
That was a rare trip. I don't have the stats right in front of me. That was a rare trip for NDSU into the red
Yeah.
zone where they do not score.
Yep.
Now, we talked about it against UND. They were 1 for 4, but they got 3 field goals out of it, right? So you look at that stat, still scoring-wise, they were 100%. I believe there was only 2 or 3 times this season they got into the red zone and didn't come away with any points.
Yeah, it was one of the rare times, exactly right, get nothing out of it. We're following as we see the different scores coming up throughout the country here today. There's just some head scratchers. It's probably the best way to say it.
Especially the one up the road.
Yep. Sam, give us an update on what's going on with Colt.
Yeah, he's getting checked out here by Dr. Bruce Pyatt on the sideline. They're actually looking at his left knee and the mobility down there. We'll try to get you an update as we learn more.
Okay. On second down, they give it back to Cook. Bison will spend their second timeout.
Timeout, North Dakota State.
He's walking away from the dock.
30 seconds.
Not sure if he's ready to be done with the conversation. Stenbroughton in there first to make the tackle.
I got to imagine well, we'll see. Maybe they let him finish up the
Yeah.
half, but I got to imagine that might be the last we see
so.
at number 9.
Yep. Talking there with Finn Diggins, the Perham native who we saw so emotional back against Southern Illinois, Kyle, a month and a half ago, where he thought his career was going to be done. He got some great news that he's going to be able to come back and play. We'll likely see him back out on the field here in 2 weeks for the playoff opener.
Yeah, that's huge. They've been kind of thin at that tight end position. We saw him, Carson Williams, obviously, Reese Kessel as well, kind of become some weapons there for Cole Payton offensively. They're going to be happy when they get him back on the field.
They got 2 back on second down. It's going to be 3rd and 10 from the Tommy 7-yard line. Noah Taylor into the game for North Dakota State at linebacker. Jackson will roll, looking for something into the flat. That's caught by his tight end, Patrick Wagner. Going to get pushed out of bounds just a yard shy of the first down. It's going to be 4th down.
Well, it's a good job by Oliver Luck to see 55 on the bootleg drill. You have to almost abandon what your drop was going to be, especially in zone coverage, and it almost turns into man-to-man. So just chasing from behind does a nice job of shoving him out of bounds where he's able to move the chains.
So it'll be 4th down. Bison will have 1 timeout to work with. As hitter back in, look at that score. South Dakota State has gone in front in Grand Forks late in the game. The Jackrabbits trying to make the FCS playoffs and stop a 4-game losing skid today. Penalty flag on the play as Williams will do his best. Willie Mays over the shoulder catch there. He'll get swarmed and brought down. Good tackle. Paulson was in there, joined by Owen Lyons. We'll see what the penalty flag, though, is way back at the line of scrimmage.
There's a penalty flag on the play.
I think they're talking to Coach Paulus. I would assume that means it's on St. Thomas. If this is lined up off sides or in the neutral zone, that'd be a first down for the Tommies.
Right.
Might have been an illegal formation. Maybe someone did break the plane to the center. We might make him punt it again.
Illegal formation, kicking team. 5 yards added to the end of the kick.
Okay.
First down.
So they'll spot it now as they'll move it up to the 33.5-yard line. Bison have one timeout to work with. And Nathan Hayes is coming out at quarterback. So Cole Payton's day is done. 9 of 12 for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns. Sure, he's going to leave with a bad taste in his mouth, the last play being the fumble. Hayes into the game for the 9th time out of 12. He'll throw on first down. That's incomplete. Out of the outstretched arms of Raja Nelson.
But I got to imagine this coaching staff wants to see how Nathan Hayes can operate in the 2-minute drill, right?
Yep.
Especially Cole Payton gets dinged up just a little bit. Time to set him down, end his day, and see what Nathan Hayes, who we've talked plenty about in his talent, what he can do here in this 2-minute drill.
Late in the game in Missoula, Montana State up 31-28. Winner of that gets the 2 seed for the FCS playoffs. From the 33, it's 2nd down and 10. Hayes to throw again over the middle. Zing, that one. That's hauled into the reception. Nelson gets that. Out to near midfield. That's going to be a gain of 14 yards. And they'll go hurry up here from the 48. Hayes, look at the time again. Now he'll take it. We saw he could score a rushing touchdown last week. Takes a shot. He gave the shot actually out of bounds at the 42-yard line. The guy craves contact.
Well, you told me last week he likes to play angry,
Yes.
right? I thought it was unique for a quarterback. Don't hear that a lot, but you see he's not running out of bounds. Nope. Delivers the blow here.
That is unlike what quarterbacks usually do. Bloomquist was on the receiving end of that. Gain of 8, 2nd down and 2 from the St. Thomas 44-yard line. 49 seconds left to play in the half. Bison have a timeout in their back pocket. Hayes to the outside. There's Bryce Lance, makes a cut, and he'll scoot out of bounds. Lance out of the 28-yard line, a gain of 16.
And you see why Bison fans are so excited about Nathan Hayes and his arm talent. This is not an easy throw. I mean, this is from one hash all the way to the far sideline. And then look at that nice little subtle move there from Bryce Lance. That's what you're taught as a receiver. If you can get it, you can get upfield quickly, right? And that's exactly what he was able to do. Spins away from the defender and picks up another couple yards.
Again, they haven't had to use that timeout here, Kyle. They've got out of bounds the last 2 plays. 1st and 10 from the Tommy 28. Hayes, this time to the other sideline. There's Chris Harris out of bounds. Another first down. They'll mark him out at the 14 and a gain of 14.
Well, they've been able to soften up this coverage a little bit, especially with all the explosive plays. And now you're just seeing NDSU kind of press them downfield and then stop. And again, they make it. Nathan Hayes made that look a little bit easier than it probably is. Getting the ball out on time, and once again, a nice shot to the sideline.
Bison into the red zone again. 35 seconds to go in the half from the 13-yard line. At a timeout, St. Thomas will spend its final one of the half.
30 seconds.
With the Bison driving here. We mentioned Hayes. One of the more remarkable stats around this team this year to talk about their domination is that this is the 12th Bison game of the year. He's played in 9 of them.
And that's going to be the argument for people when they talk about the Walter Payton and for Cole Payton, right? Is
yeah,
the fact
you're right.
He barely had to play in a number of fourth quarter game, or in the fourth quarter of a couple different games. I got to cut myself off there a little bit there, Don. UND just scored to tie up that game up the road in Grand Forks.
Oh, man, oh, man.
28 all.
Like I said to you off the top, like this is so unique for us for doing this that normally the final day, you're going for a conference championship,
right?
You're going for a seed. There's nothing like that other than the fact for the Bison just to absolutely slam the door shut that they're the number one overall seed.
The only drama here is if they were to lose or they drop to the 3 seed, do they somehow keep the 2 seed? Obviously, this game pretty much well in hand, so it's an interesting game in NDSU history. The fact that it's non-conference, it's the last week of the season, you're right, it's a little bit unprecedented.
All right, out of the timeout. From the 13-yard line. 2 receivers to the top, Lance to the bottom. Hayes will zing this one. That's wrapped up out of bounds as Harris had the reception. Now they'll go quick. They say he was inbounds, so they'll go quick here. Down to 20 seconds. They'll keep that timeout. Hayes to throw. Looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Bryce Lance. What a zinger from Nathan Hayes.
Well, and it's a great route concept, right? They sit Rajah Nelson down basically right along the goal line. You see, watch number 3. So he's going to sit down right around the goal line and pull those defenders off. And then Bryce Lance with the in cut right behind him, right? And he's able to win his one-on-one matchup. A great understanding of what they're trying to do downfield with that route concept.
His 7th receiving touchdown of the year, just keeps climbing the all-time North Dakota State record books for most receiving touchdowns in a career, which is, again, remarkable, considering he had 1 reception the first 3 years here at NDSU. Extra point from Osick is good, and with 12 seconds to go in the first half, the Bison now lead this game 45-0.
And still didn't have to use that time.
Yeah,
How many times have we seen that? Trey Lance got to be excited.
Trey liking that with a guy he used to throw bombs to, and Noah Gindorf, who works on the radio sideline. That scoring drive, 7 plays, 67 yards, 1:02 off the clock. All of them were passes, Kyle, for Nathan Hayes on a 9-yard touchdown to Bryce Lance to make this now a 45-0 lead as you see our Farmers Union Insurance scoring recap. I think you mentioned that it's important for Hayes to run something like that. He's done almost everything. That might be the one thing he hasn't done in the game yet this year.
Right. It's a lot of times it's been in that 4th quarter, and that was a true 2-minute drive, right?
You're right.
It was straight, hey, we're going to pass it. They know we're going to pass it. We know we're going to get some kind of exotic things along the defensive line, moving some guys around, stemming, twisting. How do we operate? Can we get out of bounds? And if we don't, can we get to the line of scrimmage? Executed flawlessly there by Hayes and that Bison offense.
This will be into the end zone for another touchback from Osick. St. Thomas will start at its own 25-yard line. Again, for the Tommies, this is about knowing full well what they want to do going forward. It is a final in Missoula. Montana State has won the Brawl the Wild game 31-28 over the Grizz. That's the first time in the last 5 years the visiting team has won in that rivalry. That, for Brent Vegan, what an amazing win. That locks up the 2 seed for Montana State, as Cook will get the carry, and we'll get more into this in the second half in our bracketology show coming up later tonight, as that's going to be the final play of a dominant first half of Bison football, as they'll take a 45-0 lead into the halftime locker room. Barika Penu with 3 touchdowns. Bryce Lance with a pair of touchdowns. As Sam is standing by with Tim Polasek.
Thanks, Tom. Tim, almost 600 yards of offense in the first half and a couple of takeaways. What do you make of the first 2 quarters here?
600 yards of offense, and we've got 2 misses. You know, I wish we had. Barika looks sharp. I think the O-line is doing some pretty good things. They're pressuring, and we're getting some dents in there. Barika had a great first half. I'm just pleased that we came out and honored the seniors. It'd be really good if we finished clean.
Starting to see a couple of other guys starting to rotate in the game. What do you hope to see from them in the second half?
Well, the play to the standard, number 1, which means, you know, high effort, you know, technique and fundamentals play together. And let's see if we can produce a similar third quarter.
Is there a quick update you can give on Josh Magan at all?
He's going to be out probably for a week or 2 for sure with an ankle report. But he'll work hard to get back, and we'll keep working to get him back.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Bison up big at the halftime break. Your Proceed halftime report coming up next on WDAY.
Welcome to the Proceed Halftime Report.
Back inside of the Fargo Dome for the Proceed Halftime Report on WDAY. After the first two quarters of play here inside of the Dome, North Dakota State up big on St. Thomas, 45-0 at the break. Now, there was a lot of really interesting scores to pass along and a lot of really interesting games happening across the country. Let's take a look at some scores across the Missouri Valley Football Conference. This one is huge up in the Alara Center. South Dakota State and North Dakota with a lot on the line for both teams. May need some extra football, and it sounds like they will get extra football. 28-28 as they go into overtime. Another interesting score, Southern Illinois taking down Illinois State today, 37-7. Big win for the Salukis on the road. Penguins in a big game, too, against UNI. Need a convincing win to potentially arouse the playoff committee. It's 35-32. It was 28-3 at the half with the Penguins leading, but a tight one there. You and I making it a ball game. And you may have heard Dom mention it at the end of the second quarter. Montana State with a win over Montana in the brawl for the Wild. 31-28 win for the Bobcats on the road against the Grizz. A lot of interesting scores. Again, we'll give you a deeper update at the end of the game. Dom and Jeff will have their bracketology show, which we'll remind you of in just a second. We'll step aside here on the Proceed Halftime Report. A lot more to come. Look at the highlights coming up in just a moment. Welcome back inside of the Fargo Dome. After 2 quarters of play, North Dakota State up big on St. Thomas, 45-0 at the Proceed halftime break. Hey, a reminder for you, coming up after the game, be sure to check out Bison Postgame Live for the final time in the regular season. You can catch it on WDAY Plus following the game. We'll give you full game highlights. You'll hear from the coaches, and you'll hear from some of the players as well. Again, Bison Postgame Live on WDAY Plus and on Inform.com. We told you some of the scores earlier. A lot of interesting news to pass along today. Again, SDSU, UND in overtime. That's going to shake things up in bracketology potentially. And a reminder for you as well, our experts will give you their bracketology show, if you want to call them that. Dom Izzo and Jeff Kolpak will have their bracketology show on WDAY Plus and Inform.com later on today. Also tomorrow, the NCAA FCS selection show tomorrow at 11 in the morning on ESPNU. So a couple of things to look out for as we get closer and closer to the postseason. Bison won't be in action. They'll have that first round bye. We'll step aside here on the Proceed Halftime Report. When we come back, Dom and Kyle have a look at the first half highlights coming up.
Back here on the Proceed Halftime Report, North Dakota State leads St. Thomas 45-0 in the regular season finale. Back with Kyle Emanuel, I'm Dom Izzo. Had to do a double take here. 561 total yards of offense for the Bison.
Not too bad, right? And they really did explosive plays, right? It was right from the jump. They got the ball. They get it down in the end zone. It was Cole Payton. They just receivers over and over getting behind the defenders. But it really started with Barika Penna as well. This was an unbelievable cut here. They try the outside zone play. He cuts it all the way back against the grain, and he gets that home run that we were talking about.
Talked about it this morning. Had happened. 74-yard touchdown. Bison defense then comes up with back-to-back interceptions.
Yeah, I thought Amari Powell just, he was flustered at times. They got some pressure on him, and he just threw a couple different interceptions. And then it was Barika Penu once again. Talking about a nose for the end zone. He continues to find it.
14-0, and then Talon Edey comes up with his second pick in as many games.
Yeah, once again, just kind of a poor decision, a late throw over the middle. And then, again, here's what I'm talking about. This is Bryce. He's just straight up running away from people. It's not a busted coverage or anything like that. It's just he's running away from the defender. An easy find there for Cole Payton.
81-yard touchdown there, the 9th longest passing touchdown in Bison history. Then this one when Barika Penu was just waiting for the ball.
Yeah, he just got lost. It was scrambled. Cole Payton went one way, came back, and then Barika gets lost. And then this is Jackson Williams. Again, the defenders, over and over, it was NDSU getting behind the defense there for St. Thomas.
Here the one play is Payton tried to make it with his legs. He fumbled the football, and that was the last time we'd see Cole in the game. Bison get the ball back, and Nathan Hayes throws a zinger to Bryce Lance.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job of orchestrating that 2-minute drill and hitting Bryce Lance to the back of the end zone.
45-0, Bison with the lead. Second half kickoff coming up on WDAY.
This has been the Proceed Halftime Report.
Getting ready for the start of the second half. Our Ag Country player profile focuses on Mandan's Jackson Dutenheffer. What a big-time senior season. He was recognized earlier this week with his second degree. The guy is going to leave NDSU as a great player, but he's already set up for life, Kyle.
Yeah, I think multiple times when you get seniors come up and you talk about, they exemplify Bison Pride. And look, there's a ton of them. He's certainly one of them. A guy, in-state, homegrown guy here from Mandan, North Dakota, what he's been able to do, and the fact that he's just on the field today after what happened against Indiana State,
Yep.
I mean, I think that kind of speaks for itself.
I think that probably why the loudest cheer of the day was what happened in Terre Haute there about a month ago. See Preston Brown back deep. We've seen him all over the place today for the freshman from Hillsboro, Missouri. Might see him at quarterback here later in this game as well. First time we've seen St. Thomas kick off. Hitter will put it into the air. This is going to be Brown returning it from his 1-yard line. He's got some elusive speed, ran into his own man as he's wrapped up there at the 15-yard line. Let's go down for a Peterson Farm Seed sideline report. Here's Sam with an update on St. Thomas.
Yeah, Dom, I just spoke with head coach Glenn Caruso, gave a lot of flowers to North Dakota State. He told me that this is the best team in the country. He also told me that he would be surprised if this North Dakota State team did not win the national championship. Now for his team, he said that they showed some fight at the end of the second half, and he said that this is a program that will never not fight. And he said they have an opportunity to come out here in the second half and just play better than they did and hopefully put together a good performance in the final 2 quarters.
Thanks, Sam, for the update. Nathan Hayes in at quarterback. He finished the first half through that touchdown as he hands it off to DJ Scott. He'll get a couple out to the 17-yard line just to clean up, by the way, from the end of the first half. The touchdown by Bryce Lance, we mentioned his 24th receiving touchdown, Kyle. He's now tied for 3rd all-time with the great Len Kretschmann, who had 24 touchdown receptions. He's 4 away from the record of Zach Vra, your old teammate.
It's still crazy because he came into last year, no one knew about him. I mean, I knew his name because of his brother, but he had 1 catch.
Yep.
What he's able to do in just 2 years, unbelievable.
Just like a comet streaking across the sky kind of deal of how quick it's been. 2nd down and 8. Hayes, that one batted down, nicely done at the line of scrimmage. Flying in was Jordan Pendleton from his linebacker spot, one of the top linebackers in the Pioneer Football League.
Well, we saw this a week ago, and NDSU had a ton of success with it, of just releasing the back when the defense would bring pressure, and Hayes has it there, but kind of just didn't get the snap cleanly enough to get that ball out in time.
Pendleton leads the PFL and leads his team in sacks with 7.5. 3rd down and 8. Just underway here in the second half. Hayes surveys, now flushed out here to his right. Go down the field, incomplete. Boy, he had Logan Conklin just waiting back there. And it's going to be 4th down.
When I thought NDSU did a nice job once again of picking up some of the twists here, and you can see Hayes trying to find Conklin. I think he just, and I don't know, Conklin might have stepped out of bounds as well. We didn't see it come out, the hat come out, but just didn't float that one quite enough to allow him to run underneath that football.
You see Aaron Bickerton for the first time today. Junior punter, the transfer from Howard, who's had a really nice year. That's a beauty of a kick there. Will drag Todd all the way back to his 33-yard line, and he gets wrapped up almost immediately. Hudson Arts comes up with a play for NDSU. Timeout of the field, 13:54 to go, 3rd quarter. Bison in control, up 45-0. Bison football is brought to you by Shields, a proud partner of Bison Athletics. 13:54 to go, third quarter. Bison punt on their opening possession of the second half. St. Thomas takes over at its own 35-yard line. Handoff goes to Joseph Cook. He'll get about a yard on that one. Out to the 36 for Zach Vanderpool, wrapped him up. Cook, the leading rusher on the team. Again, if you're just joining us, Andy Peters, the starter for St. Thomas, out of this game. We found out about, 15 minutes before kickoff that the Tommy starting quarterback, responsible for 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, was not going to play in this game. Amari Powell started, really struggled through a couple of picks. Jackson came in at the end of the first half, and he's flushed here, trying to get away from Elijah Wayne, who wrapped him up and throws him down. The freshman from Omaha has had a dynamite debut campaign.
He really has. We saw him flash early on in this season, and this is one though for Jackson. You just gotta throw this one away. You're outside of the pocket. You see Wayne bearing down him, but I would give credit, a lot of credit here to Elijah Wayne. Wraps up his throwing arm. So at the end of that, Jackson has no choice but to just go down and take the loss.
He did that with a bunch of his freshman teammates right above him there in the stands. You mentioned it was that first game of the season, the end of the first half against the Citadel, came up with a sack, and we're okay. I think he's going to play this year. He's played in all 12 games.
A couple true freshmen, him and Babbitt's obviously on the other side as well, playing in the trenches.
On 3rd and long, they'll give it back to Cook for just a couple. Just think about that. The talent level that those two have to possess, and understanding on each side, as we get a penalty flag thrown in here late, that to play those positions as true freshmen is really something else.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. You need time to develop, get with the strength staff, get bigger, stronger, faster, all those things that you hear about. It's just tough. And that's where NDSU's had so much success, is finding guys and then developing them.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct foul, offense number 3, his first of the game. Half the distance to the goal, 3rd down.
I think the Bison fans that are left are excited about that. That's on Cobb Butler, who was involved obviously with the skirmish earlier with Donovan Woolen. It's going to bring up 4th down. The Tommies move all the way back here to their 14-yard line, as they'll bring in the punting unit again. Hitter's been a busy man today for St. Thomas, punting for the 7th time in this game. Long of 56, which is a boomer he had in the middle of the first quarter. Gets this one away. That's Mikhail Ford, true freshman out of Lincoln, Nebraska, from the 36-yard line. Got a seam down the middle, cuts back in. Look at this. Mikhail Ford is going to go for a touchdown. The true freshman returns a punt. That's a way to welcome yourself to the lineup.
I would say so. Again, a good job. As a returner, you got to be able to make 1 or 2 guys miss, especially at the beginning, and then a good job of blocking downfield for this Bison punt return team, and then he's off to the races into the end zone. How about that? You mentioned for a true freshman to get back there, and you see his teammates mobbing him as he comes to the sideline.
What is it about Nebraska guys bringing back punts? Jackson Williams has done it. Now Mikhail Ford, uber talented young man out of Lincoln that the Bison were ecstatic about. You know, I preach it to the choir with a guy next to me out of Nebraska. Well, the high school football is in that state, but NDSU, they got a couple of home runs in Ford and obviously Elijah Wayne. Thomas Roberts might be another one as the extra point from Drew Klein into the game is up and good. 11:42 to go in the football game. New score in the 3rd quarter. New score, North Dakota State 52, St. Thomas nothing. Bison football is brought to you by Sanford Health. We deliver exceptional health care. Here for all, here for good. Sanford Health. Mikhail Ford gets into the scorebook. 63-yard punt return touchdown. Young man has been excelling on scout team all year. He's dressed for a couple of games, and now he's got his first collegiate touchdown. You see the Farmers Union Insurance scoring recap. 52-0 now. North Dakota State in front. As Drew Klein is going to do the kicking here the rest of the way. Fair catch is signaled as the Tommies will start at their 25-yard line. Here's a word from the Bank of North Dakota.
Get a boost in savings when you enroll with College Save. Simply opt in for College Save's match programs for newborns, kindergartners, and children up to 15 years old, with only one of them based on income. Visit collegesaveforyou.com to enroll today.
Powell was going to come back into the game after he started and played the first 5 series. Then Jackson came in. Now it's back to Amari Powell.
Interesting, yeah, interesting move. I don't know if something happened there at the end there, Jackson, or maybe it's just Glenn Caruso again trying to switch some things up, trying to get anything going offensively.
Handoff here to Cook, and he's wrapped up and spun down on the play. Got a couple yards on that one. He brought down on the play Gavin Sell, the freshman linebacker of Baldwin, Wisconsin. They really like his potential. He's dressed in a lot of games this year, hasn't played in any, but now obviously we're at the stretch of the season. Remember, the playoff games don't count.
Correct.
Really interested to see how many, if there are any true freshmen that we're going to see in the postseason.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting rule because if you're NDSU, you could play up to 8 games as a true freshman if you're counting the playoffs. Ton of experience without burning any eligibility.
Back to Cook. Gets a good second level running here as he gets out to the 35, and that's good enough for a first down. Best rush of the day by St. Thomas, who's still under 100 total yards, you saw in that graphic.
I just think, I mean, going back to the Youngstown State game, and there was a ton of questions around this Bison defense and how well that they've responded. Obviously what they did up in Grand Forks, we saw them last week. I believe it was around 40 yards for Northern Iowa in the first half. I think they really did a nice job of kind of coming back together, understanding there were some little things to clean up after they had been phenomenal all season and went up against one of the best quarterbacks in the country, I understand, in that game, but really the way that they've bounced back to finish off the season has been really impressive.
That was just the 4th first down of the game for St. Thomas. Powell will keep this, and he's into the open field. Amari Powell with a good run here will scoot out of bounds. Gets to the Bison 35-yard line. That's a gain of 30.
Well, that's what they need. Again, just a little bit of momentum going. A nice job there. Just a quarterback draw. Looks to his outside. Allows the blocking to develop in front of him. And then he finds some open field. Some much-needed positive energy for this Tommy offense.
By far their best offensive play of the game. Get him to the Bison 35. Powell now, they'll try a trick play. They'll throw it back across the field to Cook. He's got a lot of green grass. Cook here down the sideline, gets a block, and then finally wrapped up and brought down as Todd made the pass to the 11-yard line, and it's going to be first down.
Well, I'm surprised we didn't see a little bit more of this early on in the ball game. And I like the play call, though. You're expecting there that double pass to go down the field. Instead, they go all the way across the field. Back to Cook along the sideline. Really no one there for North Dakota State. A nice little switch up there from Jay McIntyre, the offensive coordinator.
2 big plays there for St. Thomas to get them into the red zone for the first time. Haugo was the one who ended up making the plays. You look at our First Western Bank down and distance. 1st and 10 for the Tommies at the Bison 11. Jaysean Todd with his first pass of the year. They'll try to get it to him. That was just too far in front. It'll be incomplete.
Yeah, trying to go right back to Todd. This time they motion him out of the backfield. You see right as the play starts, trying to get outside the defender there, Peter Haugo, and just unable to connect.
It'll be second down. Just going through here, the 6 road games. The states they've traversed: St. Thomas, Idaho, Michigan, California, North Carolina, Florida, Iowa, North Dakota.
Wow.
That is all over the map.
It is.
2nd and 10. Powell kept that one, got a couple, They're going to mark him down at the 9 for he was tripped up there, and it's going to bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, basically right back to the same play. Nice job there by Sell of recognizing it. It was all over at that time. That was the big explosive run that they had with Powell earlier in this drive, and Sell recognized it, shot his gun, and got in the backfield.
He's got good size. Again, a freshman that Grant Olson has spoke glowingly about since he arrived in June. Now getting a chance here to make some plays in this season finale. 3rd down and 8 from the Bison 9. Powell out of the pocket will throw for the end zone. That's tipped and incomplete. Knocked down. They were looking for the tight end. Will Stile, good to see him back in the lineup, makes the play.
Yeah, Will Stile, we've seen him make some unbelievable plays on special teams now. Comes up with a big-time PBU all over this, trying almost, yeah, I mean, he's out of bounds there, so if he catches that, it's still going to be incomplete, but a great job of getting his paw up there and knocking that one down to the turf.
Almost made that interception from his rear. Ben Hoyland is in to attempt a field goal for St. Thomas. This will be a 26-yarder to get the Tommies on the board. Well, they fake it here on the delay. This play is blown up. They'll go to the end zone. It's incomplete. And the Tommies get nothing out of it.
Well, this isn't a fake. No, I think this is a bad snap, right? This is the fire drill where you can tell that they're just take another look at this. I just can't tell from here, but yeah, that ball never got up because you could see no one's getting out of the formation for the fake, and then you're just forced to throw that one up and hope for a prayer. And Glenn Caruso's got to be thinking, you're kidding me? We had a chance to get on the board, and then just a bad snap, bad field goal operation there.
Because it looked like Hitter was bobbling it there on the snap, and then was just going to wing it to the end zone, and kind of what can go wrong will go wrong kind of day here for the Tommies. New look offensive line is into the game for North Dakota State, protecting Nathan Hayes at the 9-yard line. Luke Kocat into the game at fullback. Give it here to Owen Johnson, the senior. He gets met in the backfield. Nearly a jailhouse break there for the Tommies as they swarm in to make the play.
Well, you see Cade Nelson, 31, come right down the middle of that Bison offensive line, and just no one picked him up. Gets in the backfield immediately, forces Owen Johnson to try and make a cut. And you're right, Pendleton was right there to clean it up.
Had a great year in the Pioneer Football League. It's a loss of 3, makes it 2nd down and 13. Hayes from his own end zone zings this one. That's caught by Collins. Spins away, and Mackay gains some yards after the catch. Some yak out to the 29-yard line before he's brought down to the play. Looked like Nelson was back there to make the tackle.
Yeah, and again, just a little bit of a button hook right there on the top of the numbers. And you're right, it's just, if you give Nathan Hayes a little bit of a window, that ball comes out quick, and it comes out with some velocity, and he gets it to Mackay Collins.
New back into the game. Good to see Miles Mitchell back carrying the rock. We saw him in the first 3 games of the season. Cole Snead comes up with a tackle. Mitchell, another true freshman out of Chicago, scored his first career touchdown at Tennessee State in the game out in Nashville.
Another guy that I think you got to be excited about. And you're right, Don. We got to see him. Talk about freshman Elijah Wayne, but we got to see him flash as well early on in the season. Good to see him back in the lineup.
Seems like that game was about 8 years ago when we were playing down at the Citadel in Tennessee State. But this is his 4th game, Kyle. He played the first 3, and then, God, that had to be difficult to sit for a bit as he goes off the right side behind the big Noah Stummis, number 78, for Snead makes the tackle. And again, I know that's something you didn't experience, but got to be completely, hey, I'm playing, and then I got to sit for the next 2.5 months.
It's interesting. I'm trying to, think how I would have reacted as a true freshman. And you're in a red shirt, but you got to be ready every single week. I can't imagine that it's easy to try and be prepared and not knowing. And even if you do dress, still might not get into the game depending on how it goes. But I like to change it because it does allow you to get that experience without, like we talked about, burning any eligibility.
Out to the 41-yard line, new set of downs. They'll keep it on the ground here. Good run. Cortez LeGrant shows that change of pace that he has as he gets out to the 43-yard line before he's wrapped up. Cody Stordahl on the tackle for St. Thomas.
Yeah, again, a good patience in the backfield there, and it was just a nice little subtle cut to his left of kind of reading his blocks in front of him. Again, we just see NDSU kind of go back, and Coach Polasek has talked about this too. We want to run outside zone, we want to run inside zone, and you got to have backs that are able to kind of find where those lanes are going to end up. It's not always going to be clean, and Cortez LeGrant did a nice job of finding it right there.
Transferred in from the University of Minnesota after spending the last 2 years with the Gopher football program. Gain of 16 to the 43 as Hayes will throw to the outside. Hauled in on the reception. Isaiah St. Romain from Williston, North Dakota comes up with it. Spun out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
Well, you can tell St. Thomas continues, and I get it. It's in their DNA, but they continue to bring pressure, and I think they do keep doing a good job, too, NDSU, of kind of picking it up. And if you're going to give Nathan Hayes one-on-one with a little out route like that, if the timing's good, he's going to complete that 9 times out of 10.
See, tossed it still in the game. Jack Lewinsky in now on that offensive line. We mentioned Stummis. From the 31. Back to the ground, and Mitchell keeps the legs churning there for a couple of yards. Steckloff also back into the game up front. They're getting some valuable reps here in this second half. Again, we saw the dress list when we got here, and there is a solid amount of guys here, over 90 that were dressed today, that if the game played out the way that Tim Polasek wanted to, that most everybody was going to get in the football game.
And I think I think pretty much everyone that did dress is probably going to see them at some point here in this next quarter.
Keep it on the ground on 2nd and 9 as Owen Johnson goes off the left side. Wrapped up, Obeto came in and make the tackle there. Owen Johnson will be done with this college football career when this season is done. We've detailed obviously what he went through physically, missing all of last year and half of 2023 with a serious knee injury. He's going to join the strength and performance department here when he's done.
Yeah, learn under Ryan Napoli, Jim Kramer, not a bad duo to kind of start your career at if he wants to get into that strength and conditioning program. Obviously, he knows how successful it's been here at NDSU. Now he gets to be a part of it.
3rd down and 3. Hayes zings this one. Cade Osterman with a reception. Osterman stays in bounds. Touchdown, North Dakota State. His first career score. The pride of Elk River, Minnesota.
Yeah, I was going to say, how about the balance here for the sophomore? You see him tiptoe that sideline, and I think that's clean. We got the referee in the way, but I think Osterman did a phenomenal job there of keeping his balance, staying in bounds, and trotting into the end zone. Just seems like everything going NDSU's way here today.
They're looking at it here to confirm that he stayed in bounds. Remember how many big catches Osterman had at East Tennessee State last year to keep that game alive from Cam Miller in the 4th quarter of that game. Now he's got his first touchdown as a Bison. Klein in for the extra point. Up and good. 2:34 remaining, 3rd quarter. Bison have added on to their lead. North Dakota State now leads it 59-0. 59-0 Bison with the lead. Look at our Farmers Union Insurance scoring recap. 9 plays. They go 91 yards in 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Nathan Hayes with his second touchdown pass. This to Cade Osterman, his first collegiate touchdown from 24 yards out to make it 59-0. Osterman was a tremendous high school player at Elk River, Mr. Football winner at Elk River. Went to the University of Minnesota, didn't work there for a couple years, came here and obviously showed his role last year and now finds the end zone. Let's go down to Sam for an update on one of the officials. Sam, go ahead.
Well, I think we got to give a shout out to that crew. We started the day with 8 of them, and then if you remember back in the first quarter, the side judge, Samuel Banks, he went down with an injured hamstring. Now, luckily, it sounds like it's not too serious, but out of an abundance of cautious, they're going to keep him out for the rest of the game. So what they did is that they moved the center judge, Brad Mutnick, over to his position, and they've been finishing the game with 7 guys. Love that they've been able to adjust on the fly today.
Yeah, that was tough to start the game. That happened on the Pennu touchdown as there's a flash tackle coming in. That's Gavin Sell. We've talked about him. Makes a nice TFL here.
Yeah, and this is just instincts. Again, you can throw off your run fits a little bit. They bring that jet sweep back with number 4 there, Todd. And again, it's just Sell understanding what he's seeing in front of him and then not hesitating and going and making a big time tackle.
Again, I think you understand why Grant Olson is speaking so glowingly about him. Able to make a big play there. That we could see more reps out of him potentially in the postseason. You see the Bison linebacker depth is not certainly what Olson would like it as with the injuries of the top 3 linebackers. Carry here goes to Cook as he'll drag the pile forward as he gets out to the 34-yard line and picked up 11. He is short of a first down. As Stenbrutton come in on the play.
Well, it's just a good job by Cook, too, of just understanding it. Tackler's coming a little bit high, keeping those legs churning. Picking up a nice gain there on the ground.
The 3rd and 1. I always wonder when a guy points for a first down and he's short, do you feel any
little shame?
Embarrassed about that?
Well, maybe a little bit.
I don't know.
Just a little bit.
You could see the Bison over 650 total yards of offense. Here on 3rd and 1. Cook gets dragged back. His forward progress is going to be enough for a first down. Sam's got an update on Josh Mangan. Sam?
Yeah, he is back on the sideline here. He's down on the trainer's table next to Austin Altepeter. He's got a boot on his left foot, and he's here with some crutches. You heard Coach Polisic say going into the halftime break that it's an ankle deal. He'll miss some time, but good sign that he's out here to enjoy the rest of the game with his team.
So now, knowing full well, obviously the Bison will not play next week. 2 weeks from now, they're going to be back out in this field. Might be back, or we might see for the first time a change in the starting lineup on the offensive line. As Powell will throw, and down he goes, and the ball is loose. It's going to be scooped up by Elijah Wayne. He had it for a moment. Alante Burley was the man who hit Powell. Who's got the ball? The Bison do.
Bison have the ball.
Comes out of the pile with it. Wayne thought he had it. And then there's Obald Nyankuru comes up with a fumble recovery.
Well, and it's a great job by Burley of understanding that he's coming free from the backside. Again, you see the right hand come across. I don't even know if it was a hand. I think that was just such a big hit, Dom, that he jarred the ball loose. I don't even know if his right hand was able to get to the ball. Didn't really need it. Came with such authority. Great look at it right there. Wow. And yeah, that's a clean hit. That's just a lot of force, and that's why you saw Powell's helmet fall to the ground.
I can't even imagine what's happened at the bottom of that pile. Thought Elijah Wayne had it. They're changing the clock time here as Trey Drake is now into the game at quarterback. The man out of Jamestown, New York, Western New York, represented here on the Bison football roster. Takes over at the St. Thomas 31. Go to Miles Mitchell here on first down. He's rejected on that. Derek Hubbard in there on the Charlie, that's your guy. Boucher came in there to make the tackle for St. Thomas. Go back to Alante Burley is a really interesting story that he was away from the team for a year, was with the team, then left, got away, then came back, and now he's been a productive player on the 2-deep for the Bison. As that's going to do it for the third quarter. Bison were in control at halftime, and they've extended this lead after 3. Let's go to the fourth quarter here at the Fargo Dome. Score reads North Dakota State 59, St. Thomas nothing. Fourth quarter coming up. You're watching Bison football on WDAY. Bison football is brought to you by Shields. Be sure to stop by Shields for all your hunting needs this fall. Fourth quarter underway at Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome. The 2025 regular season finale. North Dakota State leading St. Thomas 59-0. That carry goes to LeGrant on second down with Sam Getzinger, Kyle Emanuel, our great crew. I'm Dom Izzo in our finale. Bison are going to head into the FCS playoffs unbeaten at 12-0. They'll find out who will be bracketed with them tomorrow morning, and that's going to be the great debate, I think, over the next 16 hours for fans of like, okay, who's going to be in this tournament after some of the results we saw today. More on that coming up later on tonight. Third down and 9 for the St. Thomas 30. Brady Wobnerek will get the carry here off the left side. Gets out to the 28-yard line. It's going to bring up fourth down as Drew Klein and the special teams unit coming out of the field.
I think you're right, though, Dom. I'm looking at the bubble, right? And
yep.
UND's obviously
squarely on
it. There's been a couple different things that have shaken it up, and now some teams are getting in, and you thought they were going to, have the automatic bid. Now they maybe go to an out-large Harvard being
the
one
Yale
of those,
one is a huge
right?
one. Yale beating Harvard today is going to take a bid from somebody because I think Harvard's going to get in the tournament. So the first year of Ivy postseason eligibility, they're going to get 2 in. Is Klein How about that from Drew Klein? Drills that one. That's a 43-yarder to extend the lead as North Dakota State adds 3 to make it 62-0. Could Eli Ozick race it out there to congratulate Drew on his first big-time kick as a Bison.
And I know we were talking in the break too, Dom. This is a game where NDSU's approaching some kind of all-time records.
Yep.
Yards, biggest margin of victory, at least in Division I. And I know, look, I understand people are going to look at this game and say, hey, with St. Thomas, you should do that. But we've seen NDSU play some Pioneer. Like, there's still some good football without a doubt. And this is one of the better teams in that league. I think that you still have to give your props to North Dakota State for coming out ready to go. And especially some of these younger guys, second string, third string guys getting into the football game and continuing to find a way to stop the football and put points up on the board.
Well, Bison fans will remember San Diego came up here back-to-back years in the playoffs after winning a game and put up some good efforts. You look at our Farmers Union Insurance scoring recap after the fumble recovery, 4 plays, 3 yards, a minute 42 off the clock. Drew Klein from 46 officially to make this now 62-0. Another fair catch signaled here from Jayshon Todd as we'll get to see the Tommies go to work from their own 25-yard line. They actually got 1 year taken off their unprecedented D3 to D1 move up for postseason eligibility, because actually it was supposed to be extended for another year. They're now eligible for postseason play in all sports. We'll select the Nodak Insurance Company player of the game. That's coming up. We wrap things up here on this Saturday afternoon.
Oh, that one might be a tough decision.
Well, there's a couple of candidates out there. Good to see Powell back in the game after he took that shot from Burley. That was one of the all-timers there, as he's able to pick up 4 yards out to the 29.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, again, it's a blindside hit. He never saw it coming. It was a great job by Burley, too, of just understanding you're taught as a defensive line. If it's a blind hit like that, you have to get the ball out. That's exactly what he did, but you never want to see anyone get injured. Nice to see him able to kind of walk away from that and continue playing.
I'll be awfully intrigued to see next year St. Thomas with another year under its belt in Division I football, how they navigate things in their league as Powell swings this out to the outside. Todd makes a man miss. Good spin move there. Swims back upstream up to the 37 and a gain of 8 and a first down.
And, to that point, Dom, I think Glenn Caruso understands, I think he's done a nice job of kind of pivoting. He brought in a few transfers this year. Like, that's just the way of college football, and it's tough, especially, they have guys that excel. This is a non-scholarship league, and certainly people are going to come in and potentially offer them. So finding ways to go, get a guy like Andy Peters, that was their starting quarterback from the College of Idaho, and kind of building the team that way while still trying to develop guys over 4 or 5 years.
He lost one of his best defensive linemen off last year's team. The Bison were actually recruiting him. He ended up going to Appalachian State. That's quite the move up from the PFL. This into the flat. Wagner on the reception comes up with that. Dragged down on the play. That was Chase Brixius making the tackle. Out of Benilde St. Margaret's, true freshman linebacker. They have a lot of hype here with this freshman linebacker crew. Grant Olson can't stop talking about the different freshmen that he has that potentially could be impact guys down the road.
And you could say it's coach speak if you want, but I keep telling you that's what he kept telling me about Nathaniel Staley over and over.
Yep.
And
Logan Cobb too.
Logan Cobb, right? So I think he kind of knows when he sees some talent there in that linebacker room.
Gain of 9, and this is a TFL happening there. Stenbroughton comes up. He thought he was down. Bowen got back up. Maybe got a couple more after Stenbroughton hit him.
Yeah, I think Stenbroughton's going to lose his tackle for loss. Take a look here. Bowen's, maybe right there.
Maybe.
I doubt they took a look at it because it resulted in maybe another yard. But
yeah, you can see that reaction is perfect because he made a great play. So we're under 4 minutes gone here in the fourth. 62-0, North Dakota State. Here's a 3rd and 7. And we've got a penalty flag here. Whistle before the snap.
False start. Offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Penalty on the tight end, A.J. Borman. Now, Drake has been the class of this league over the last couple of years. We've seen them come up to the Dome. They were up here in 2023, led by Todd Stepsis, who's now the coach at Northern Iowa. They're going to win the league again this year. They'll be represented in the FCS playoffs next week. That's where, and St. Thomas beat Drake.
Right,
so,
on the road.
Right, the game was in Des Moines. They won the game. So I don't know if they're already there, Kyle, but they certainly know what it's going to take to potentially win the league. As they get a little screen pass out here to Bowen, who gets back up the field, shook off a couple of blocks, and gets out to the 39-yard line. So they know certainly what's capable of them for next season.
Without a doubt. And we talked about, too, they've already won this conference. Early on in 2022, they just weren't eligible. So they certainly know what it takes, and they certainly have the pedigree, the history, support to be successful in sports, because they did it a lot in the MIAC.
Got a St. Thomas player down here after that play. We'll take a timeout. 10:07 to go in the game. Bison leading it 62-0. Back here inside Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome, 62-0 North Dakota State with the lead. Quentin Cobb Butler is the injured St. Thomas Tommy that's being attended to here. Looks like the cart is going to be needed for him. So we'll break. We come back to the Dome. St. Thomas with a 4th down coming up, trailing 62-0. Back here inside Gate City Bank Field. Good to see Quentin Cobb Butler back up. Needed some help to get off the field, but he's off on the sideline now. That's a brilliant punt that's going to be fielded by Ford all the way back at his 6-yard line, and that's where the Bison offense will go to work here with 9:53 remaining in the football game. Hitters had a nice job punting all day today. Probably the one bright spot for St. Thomas. This copyrighted telecast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by North Dakota State University. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of North Dakota State University and Learfield. Kyle, I'm going to brag one bit. I got 9 of those. I did 9 for 9 this year. Didn't mess up one of them. There we go.
Impressive.
Let's go.
Impressive, partner. There you go. You got to celebrate the
I would say
things.
the first year that was brutal. So gradual improvement. There you go. From the 6, Trey Drake is the quarterback. They'll hand it off here. Wrapped up, good play into the backfield. St. Thomas was swarming on that. Mitchell Sherris comes in and makes the play.
Yeah, they see the kind of Bison offensive line just kind of forgot about him. Blocked him initially. I think that was maybe a little bit of a miscommunication. Try to bring that outside zone. You got to bring multiple guys that way, and kind of just let him go right back into the backfield.
Loss of 1, backs it up to the 5. Again, most of the St. Thomas starters are still in the game. On 2nd and 11, LeGrant will cut back up, fumbled the ball. That came out. Did the Tommies fall on it? Looks like Shares is on it. And it is. It's a fumble recovery for St. Thomas. He just made the TFL. Now he comes up with a fumble recovery.
Well, and you mentioned the Cole Payton fumble. It just hasn't happened for North Dakota State this entire season. Now, again, something to work on. That ball clearly pops out well before he's even close to the ground. Nice job there by St. Thomas. Not only knocking the ball out, but then find a way to come up with it and giving their offense their best position of the day.
After the offense had 0 fumbles in the first 11 games, 2 here in the final game of the season. Just 3 all season. And St. Thomas now automatically into the red zone with a 1st down and goal at the Bison 8-yard line. Powell back in at quarterback. Cook is the deep back. They'll give it to him. Made one man miss, then swarmed by the Bison defense. Like Chance Simons was in there. Chase Evink also in on the play for NDSU.
I think this is such a great opportunity, though, for the young guys. We talk about it like, yes, experience is awesome, but red zone defense is just something different, right? Coaches used to talk about you got to be able to speed up your mind or speed up your body, but kind of slow down your mind. Things happen so fast, and you have to be on it. Your vision has to be 100% understanding where your responsibility is. I just think it's good experience for a young guy to get into this ball game, down to the red zone. Can you execute things quickly when they happen a lot faster down here at this end of the field?
You got a couple of redshirt freshmen and true freshmen out there for the Bison defense. On 2nd and goal, we get a whistles at a timeout taken by St. Thomas. The play clock nearly ready to expire. We'll take a timeout with them. 8:16 to go in the game. St. Thomas on the doorstep, trailing 62-0. from the NDSU 7-yard line here in our 2025 finale. Powell will keep it. He's got an avenue. He'll get in for the touchdown. And the Tommies are on the board. Amari Powell rushes for the score.
Well, and it's hard to not feel good for Glenn Caruso. And this, I mean, they've been battling all day. Obviously, I think they knew there was a tall task here today just to compete, and it hasn't gone their way in pretty much any way all day today. And just to find a way to get on the scoreboard. Good job there by Powell. Again, that's probably where they've had their most success in that quarterback draw. And they went back to it and found the end zone.
Ben Hoyland in to attempt the extra point. So the Tommies convert after the fumble. And that is good. And with 8:11 remaining in the game, Tommies are on the board now. It's 62-7. I'm sure the head coach will have something to say about the fumbles lost in the post-game press conference, which you'll see coming up as part of Bison Post-Game Live on WDAY+.
It's in their nature, right? I mean, coaches, they got to find something. I don't care if you win a game 100-0. You're always going to find something to get improved. And he talked about that too. And the question was posed to him, how do you keep the foot on the gas in a game you have, as we talked about off the top, you have everything wrapped up. You're the Missouri Valley Conference champs. You're likely a 1 or 2 seed regardless. And said it's in our DNA. Continue to try to get better, find ways, and sometimes it does come down to just nitpicking little things like fumbling the football late in the fourth quarter.
Again, St. Thomas agreed to this game knowing Bison didn't want to have back-to-back buys heading into the postseason. And they ended up taking this game, and they'll take the paycheck with it. They're going to play, as we mentioned earlier, some other Valley teams over the next handful of years. Chris Keel, freshman, back with Preston Brown. 2 freshmen that the Bison are awfully excited about. Keel has got into a couple games so far this year. Brown from the 1-yard line with a head of steam. Shook off a man, still going, dragging a couple guys as he gets out to the 28-yard line, and that's where the Bison offense will take over. The Nodak Insurance Company player of the game, Barika Penu. What a day on senior day for the Cheyenne grad, West Fargo native. 10 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, adds a receiving touchdown of 47 yards out. He had a great day today.
He did, and that first run, it wasn't like it was just, wide open right down the middle. He had to make a couple different cuts and make a couple guys miss. Now, the receiving touchdown was maybe the easiest one. That was just, stand there and make sure I don't drop the football. But still, I mean, just to start the game off, I believe the second play of the game, and he was able to, kind of break that big one that we hadn't seen yet so far this season.
So the Bison offense will go to work, and before that, though,
delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's going to back him up 5. With Drake in at quarterback.
With the penalty, makes it 1st and 15 for the Bison.
Just the 4th penalty of the day against NDSU. Back to Mitchell. Scoots forward for a couple yards. He gets out to the 24-yard line. This is our last game of the year, and people see and hear us. They see Sam, but we wanted to make sure we highlight today our amazing crew. That's Logan Franchu, who is our director. He's punching up all the different shots. Justin Hawley, who does replay, all the great replay angles. You just saw that. Matt Hopper, who controls our Piero. That's the first down marker. Carter, don't call him Cam Rude. I've done that twice this year. He can punch me in the face. There's Cam Stoddard, who does audio for us. Our guy, Eric Bennell, who I put to sleep apparently during Bison game day. There's Jeb up here, one of our camera ops. John Bernstrom. What a great crew. There's Brody Johnson down on the sidelines. Mike Knodel. What a tremendous crew. Wanted to make sure we highlighted them. They've been with us the entire time. We've went from Charleston, South Carolina. There's our guy, Scotty Swanson, up there in the top cam. Chris Danzel, Christian, our engineers. Lori Becker is doing our timeout coordinators. And the man himself, wearing his Husker gear, that's Stacey Anderson, who guides our ship. We've been nominated for a couple of Emmy Awards. They're all Emmy Award winners to me. They put up with me for 16 weeks out of the season, which is tough enough. They do a great job. Congrats, guys, on another dynamite year. I mentioned, Kyle, we started the year in a downpour in Charleston, South Carolina. We took this to Terre Haute, Indiana, and everywhere in between. Just wanted to make sure we highlighted them as this play off the left side for Mitchell.
Dom, I'd like to echo that. I mean, I think I've had a couple people, you know, I had some friends come to the game last week, showed them the truck, like, you know what goes on in here? I was like, well, this is where everything happens.
The magic happens.
They make me look good. I just go up there and I talk about football, some things I know, but this is where the real magic happens. This is where the real work happens. So yeah, hats off to that crew, to our crew, for a job. And I know, and you know this, you guys are doing high school games.
Yeah,
You're going all over the state, all over the country, doing it at a high level.
Got some of our crew in Bismarck today for the state volleyball tournament. Another good punt from Bickerton. That could be a weapon that, frankly, we haven't seen a whole lot during the regular season. Come postseason time, could be awfully important.
Yeah, I mean, he was huge.
UND game, no doubt.
In a game where they really needed him and really hadn't needed him a ton up until that point, and he delivered. I mean, in a game that was that close,
yes.
You can't overlook any small detail. He flipped the field a couple different times. I think he's really come on.
5:44 remaining as the Tommies will take over at the 19. I'll ask you, as an amateur bracketologist, with South Dakota State's win, automatically fans have already started blowing up my Twitter feed. Well, that means the Jacks are going to be put in the Bison bracket. I would pump the brakes a bit because of the win over Montana State. That looks even better now since the Cats just won the Big Sky Championship, as this comes out on the flat for Todd out to the 22. I don't think so. I think they're at least a 13 or a 14 seed. They're not on the Bison side.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's a little scarred from early on.
From your days when you played.
It was just like, oh, you're close, so okay, I guess you'll play North Dakota State because you're just down the road, and we'll save ourselves a few dollars. Well, that's changed.
With the top 16 being seeded now.
I wouldn't say it's a guarantee by any means. I also don't know if this is weird to say, especially coming from battled that team. Like, are you really scared if you're an NDSU fan of South Dakota State? Now, obviously, if they get healthy, I understand you don't really want to play them, a rivalry, but
Powell will take this, cuts up the field. They're going to mark him down at the 29-yard line. He's gang tackled in there. Walker Broughton, the pride of West Hope, North Dakota, reigning North Dakota 9-man player of the year, comes up with a tackle. I think the Valley is safe with 5. North Dakota is the one that's going to have to really sweat it out tonight.
Yeah, and look, if there was a team, they have the best 7-5 resume, I guess you could say, in terms of, like, they have really good losses.
5 losses by, what did you say, Grant, 15 points? 17 points this season. To the outside, that one incomplete. Overshooting Eli Paulson was Powell, but if you want to throw the old quality loss argument at me, you can. I mean, they lost by 1 at Montana, lost by 3 to K-State, lost by 5 to the Bison, lost by, 5 to the Jackrabbits today, and lost by 5 to USD.
Right, that's what they have going for them, but now I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. Like we already talked about, I think there's been a couple bid stealers, if you will, that you might see. And I was high on UND. I think that's a really good football team, but you can't lose at South Dakota.
Yeah,
and you can't lose today at home against South Dakota State.
Bowen gets the carry there, out to the 33. The real test case to me is what the committee will do with Harvard. They had Harvard ranked in the top 10 in their last rankings. Now they play 2 less games than everybody else because the Ivy League only plays 10, so they're 9-1. Is that good enough for an at-large bid?
That's the part I agree with you. It's so interesting. How do you look at that? Because are you rewarding a team? I know that they're the Ivy League, but do you just say, well, hey, since you're the Ivy League, we don't care that you played 2 less games. I don't think that's fair to the rest of the country that has to play 12 football games. I kind of agree with you. Maybe they are worthy to get in. I don't know.
Considering where the committee had them, but again, we've had 3 weeks of games since then. This is over the middle from Powell. That's complete to his tight end and Borman as he gets out to the 43-yard line as we click down to 3 20 remaining in the game. And you're following another one, Sacramento State and UC Davis. Sac State is the most hated FCS team simply because what its president has said. They win today, Kyle. They're 8-4, and they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're right. You're right. Might knock some other people out as
Davis
well.
being one of them. Northern Arizona lost today. That's going to put them out of the tournament at 7-5. Somebody's got to be in. They need 24 teams. I don't know who's going to be in it. UND may.
There's a couple teams. Do you want to be in the?
That's exactly right.
Man, you had every opportunity.
Powell able to make a nice move to the outside. He'll get out of bounds down to the 36-yard line. This reminds me of your true freshman season when the Bison lost the final day of the regular season. Everybody else they needed to lose also lost, and that got NDSU into the tournament.
That's what the last thing you want to do right at times is put your fate into the hands of other people. And
yes,
for teams like UND, that's where you're at.
Selection show tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. on ESPNU. We'll figure out who's going to be in. As we know, the Bison are going to be seated number 1. Little flea flicker here as Powell zings to the outside. Todd makes a nice spin move, cuts back in, and gets down to the 22-yard line. That's a gain of 15. As Chance Simons was the one to bring him down.
Well, he shows off his elusiveness. This is like a flag football player. You see him out there, the jukes, the spins. Interesting little flea flicker for usually you're to see it that route goes into the end zone. Instead, that was just for about 12 yards.
Timeout.
We'll take the 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes left in this regular season. Bison on the way to a 12-0 mark, leading 62-7. Two minutes to go in the game. That's the Bison long snapper, Caleb Bowers, in there at linebacker.
I think every long snapper is kind of like most football players. They all think they're basketball players. Every long snapper also thinks they're a linebacker.
Trying to get cues from Gavin Sell. Little pitch to Todd. He'll get a couple yards out of that. Bowers was a highly touted player out of Wisconsin as a long snapper. He did play some linebacker. He just met number 61 there, Marcus Johnson, the offensive
You got to
lineman.
learn. You got to use your hands there, Caleb. You got to use your hands to get off blocks. Can't just throw shoulders anymore.
He's having a blast. The fourth down army will go and congratulate him on getting into the game. Look at this alignment for St. Thomas on 2nd and 8. Penalty flag. No timeout taken by NDSU.
30 seconds.
As they'll spend their first here with 86 seconds to go in the game. Bison came out blazing in this one. Barika Penu with this highlight reel touchdown run started the scoring.
Yeah, and I love that last cut there on the defensive back there for St. Thomas, right? He gets into the open field, been easy just to kind of take, okay, I'll take 10 yards, but nice move there, and he gets his home run hitter.
After a quick St. Thomas punt, Penu is back in the end zone. It was 14-0. This bomb from Peyton to Bryce Lance, we saw it earlier in the year, back again today.
I felt like they could have done this maybe every play.
Yeah.
I mean, Bryce Lance was straight up just running by people. They had guys behind the defense, just like this
that.
play right here to Brika Penu all day long. Cole Payton, I believe, only had 3 incompletions, and all 3 of them maybe could have been for touchdowns, but he found Jackson Williams here.
Another beauty right on a rope. Then Nathan Hayes, right before halftime, sings one for Lance's second touchdown of the game and 24th of his career, now tied for 3rd all-time in Bison football history. That record is certainly in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Knowing full well the Bison are probably going to play a couple games that Zach Fro's record may not stand to the end of this playoff run. On 2nd down and 8, Powell rolls to the end zone, tipped and incomplete. Good pass coverage there in the end zone. That's Mikhail Ford. What a second half he's had for the true freshman.
Yeah, have yourself a day. You saw him return the punt for a touchdown now. Makes a great play on the ball. Shows off his ball skills. Tracking that one the entire way. Almost came up with an interception to go with his return for a touchdown.
3rd down and 8. St. Thomas 4 of 13. Bison, by the way, up to 667 total yards of offense. As this is a screen pass that's caught. Wagner comes up with it. That's good enough for a first down as we're down to 1:10 remaining in the game.
First and goal for the Tommies at the Bison 9-yard line.
As now it'd be a first down and goal to go from the Bison 9 with the clock running as we're down to the final minute of this regular season. See the Bison defense on the sideline going nuts here as Powell falls. Good tackle on the play there from Will Rosenmeyer. Backup corner out of Colorado comes up with the play.
Yeah, I think they've seen this play enough times now. We've seen Powell. Now he's had a ton of success with it, but kind of maybe go back to that well just one too many times, and that time Bison defense all over it.
Final half minute of the regular season. For the first time in 6 years, North Dakota State will have an unbeaten regular season. Powell to Wagner, good tackle. Guess who was hit on the play again? Gavin Sell makes the play. And that might be the final one of this game. Nope, St. Thomas going to call timeout. The Bison fans that are left are certainly displeased with that.
Yeah, that's interesting. And not only are they calling a timeout here, and I understand, but if you're shut out, I guess I understand it a little bit more. But not only are they calling a timeout here, also through kind of a wacky formation we saw a couple different times against this young Bison defense. That's actually why Coach Polasek ended up calling that timeout earlier, as they line up, about 3 or 4 offensive linemen all the way on their side of the field. Obviously something as young players you've probably never seen before, don't know how to react, and did that a couple different times, and now on a timeout. Hey, fighting to the end. I'll give them that.
Logan Kopp being the guy, the get-back guy on the sideline there for the Bison defense. Knowing full well, North Dakota State has only lost 1 home playoff game of the Division I era. That was James Madison in the semis. Somebody's going to have to come in here and play a perfect game. South Dakota State came in here in the semifinals last year, but they turned that 1 turnover. It was the critical play in that game as the Bison won it to go back to Frisco. Now, somebody's got to come in here to try and knock him off. Powell fumbled it, doesn't have the football, and the Bison are going to scoop it up on the recovery. Chance Simons, the transfer from Arizona State, is on it. Look at Grant Nelson way out of the field here.
It's a little gamesmanship, if you want to call it that. It flags all over.
Doubt.
That's the
If you're going to call a timeout, we're going to celebrate that.
I get it. You're going to celebrate, especially young guys. And, hey, you want to score? Well, we want to stop you. And That's the biggest celebration we've seen the entire game from probably either side. You see just a bad snap there, and then Simon's all over it. That sideline absolutely erupted for NDSU.
Hey, Gio hasn't run that hard since 2013.
I don't know, was it last year to the Rock?
Well, that's true.
That was,
after Kopp's interception of the marker game.
That's right.
Just to wrap up my point here, as we'll hear from.
Play is a fumble recovered by North Dakota State after the play was over. Sideline warning. North Dakota State, their first of the game. First down, North Dakota State.
All that for a warning.
That's right. That's the funny part about it. It's not even.
That's what Jackson Dutenhofer is saying right now, too. But just to firm up, depending on what happened now, I think the Montanas are going to stay on their side. I'm just interested who's can come in here and potentially, if the Bison get the bracket that the #1 seed would deserve to win a semifinal game here. That's the great question.
That's it. You're exactly right. Like you said, one playoff loss in this building. No one wants to come in here, and now it's official. NDSU will not leave this building until a potential trip to Nashville.
They have completed the regular season 12-0, a 62-7 win over the University of St. Thomas. They finished senior day the way they wanted, and now they'll wait tomorrow to see who will be in their bracket, but they will be the #1 seed in the FCS playoffs for 2025. And the march to the Music City will come through Fargo. They finish on the day with 665 total yards of offense. That'll rank in the top 10 of the best offensive days in Bison football history. Barika Penu with 3 touchdowns. Bryce Lance with a pair of touchdowns. Cole Payton for his effort, 9 of 12, 279 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the win. You can see Grant Olson and Glenn Caruso having a conversation there. Sure, probably exactly about how that game ended.
Potentially, yeah. I still think there's a ton of respect between the two, but it was kind of an interesting way to end a ball game, especially the way that the score was.
So the Bison will have next week off and then open up the FCS playoffs 2 weeks from today against the winner of the 16 seed matchup, as we'll await that tomorrow morning as the head coach is making his way over to Sam. And Sam, take it away.
Thanks, Tom. Tim, today is all about the seniors, and to have a game like this, how special is that?
Well, really good. I mean, that's the whole point of today. I appreciate Fargo getting out here. I don't really care about the numbers. They were here, they were active, and so I really appreciate that, giving these guys a really solid send-off. And then a lot of young guys made some plays today.
12 games throughout the season, 12 wins. Can you put that in perspective on just how difficult that is to achieve?
Well, it was because of the road schedule. I think, some of that stuff in the middle of the schedule was complicated, rivalry, game, rivalry. Really, hat goes off to all of our kids. They've handled, preparing. They've earned having Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and Friday off, and then we'll get them back here for a Saturday night practice next week.
You mentioned it, to get the young guys out here and to perform like they did. That was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really healthy. I mean, the young O-line, I'm thinking specifically, now we got some tape for those guys to look at. But I thought the defensive young kids flew around, showed some athleticism, some a real ability to make some plays on the ball. That was fantastic. It's important. It is. It's fun.
Tim, congratulations on this one. Go enjoy this.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sam. A lot of smiles there as the Bison completed unbeaten regular season for the first time since 2019 and now have the week off to figure out who they're going to play. Sam is standing by with the player of the game.
Barika Penu is our Nodak Insurance player of the game. Barika, before we talk about your performance, just describe the emotions of today being senior day. What was it like running out of the tunnel?
So surreal. Like, you don't realize it until it happens. I feel like senior day just came and, I wasn't expecting it. And all the emotions, all the hard work, all the things that you put into this game, and it's all coming to an end, and it's so sad, but it's something to celebrate at the same time too. So I'm so blessed. I thank God for everything, my family, and and this team, my teammates. They do an awesome job, and I'm so grateful for them.
154 total yards for you and 3 touchdowns in your final regular season game. What was working for you and this team today?
I think just our love for each other. We came in this whole week. We just felt the love from each one of our teammates, and I think that's what propelled us into this game. You felt the love and the energy and the connectivity that we have with each one of these people that we got on the team, and that's what got us done today.
12 games and 12 wins. Can you put that in perspective on how difficult that is to achieve throughout the year?
Super difficult. You're doing things that you don't want to do at times, and you put in so much time and effort, and so many sacrifices got to be made, and we thank God that we have this opportunity, and we want to keep it going. That's the motto, and that's what we're going to do right now.
Rika, congratulations on this one. Best of luck in the postseason. Guys, back to you.
Great job down there all year long by our Sam Getzinger. So final total, by the way, 665 total yards of offense. Kyle goes. That is the 8th most in school history, just edging out Southern Illinois. The Bison had 663 against the Salukis in the 2018 regular season finale. Just a quick word before we go to the scores of the day on what Barika was talking about the emotion on senior day. You alluded to that right off the top of the broadcast.
I think he did a pretty good job. Again, it's hard to kind of put into words sometimes. I think he did a good job of trying to, right?
Yeah.
Because he talked about some of the emotions, all the hard work, doing some things that you don't want to at times, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is over, and you realize. Yes, there's times where you want it to be over because of how hard. I mean, I always tell people national championships don't just show up, and banners don't hang themselves. You have to do a lot of hard work behind the scenes. But at the same time, you do it with a bunch of people that you love. And it's a special feeling, and it's always a weird and odd feeling knowing that it's starting to come to an end, but you still got that playoff run ahead of you.
All the eyes of the nation will be on that guy, number 9, to guide his team into the postseason for the first time, and that'll begin 2 weeks from today. All right, let's go through the scores and what's been a wacky final week of the FCS regular season. We'll unpack more of this on Postgame Live. South Dakota State rallies and beats UND in overtime to snap a 4-game losing skid. The Jackrabbits, Kyle, are 8-4. They're in the playoffs. The biggest question, UND at 7-5. What happens to them?
Again, we were talking about the broadcast, right? I think it's tough because you have those 5 losses. Now, one's an FBS loss. It's to Kansas State. It's early on in the year. You have a good, as we were talking, a bunch of good losses. I don't know if you have enough good wins, though.
Yep.
And because of the way some of these other things fall, do I think that they should be in the field in terms of talent-wise and how good? Yes, I do. But the resume still has to be there. 7-5, and this year, I don't know if that's going to be good
The only thing they have their calling card, they beat Youngstown State.
Right.
If it's going to get them in, it's going to be that. How about that score? Southern Illinois goes to Normal and routs Illinois State. The Redbirds, I thought, had a chance at a top 8 seed. That will not happen. Illinois State falls to 8-4. What a win for DJ Williams and crew.
I know Southern Illinois, an interesting team. I can't figure
this
out.
Year.
We saw them battle against NECU. If it's not for a couple turnovers, they might be in that game. They had a lead against South Dakota a week ago, and their backs against the wall, and they blow a 17-point lead. They're capable of beating anyone, but they have probably out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But Illinois State, I mean, that's a little bit of a head scratcher with a top 8 seed on the line and a bye to get some health back.
8-4 for the Redbirds. Out west in the Big Sky, congratulations to Brent Vegan and Montana State. They win the Big Sky Championship on the road in Missoula, beating Montana 31-28. The Bobcats will be the number 2 seed come tomorrow morning.
You knew that was going to be a battle. I thought Montana State was a more complete game, but as we know, the Brawl of the Wild typically goes to the home team.
Yeah.
At least it has in recent memory. I thought Montana State was the better team. I knew Montana was going to give them everything they had. That's exactly what they did. But yeah, hats off to Brent Vegan, what they've been able to do, losing Tommy Malott. They bounced back and still look like they're going to be the 2 seed without a doubt.
Youngstown State got a scare, but beat Northern Iowa 35-32. The final numbers for Bo Brungard today: 226 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 143 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think that gives them an even 50 on the season combined, rushing and passing this year.
We talked about this last week. If he's not on the team, how many games do they win? I don't know. Because clearly defensively, I mean, we saw Northern Iowa. They didn't have a ton of firepower offensively. Youngstown State gave up 32 to him, but Bo Brungard, he can make up for a lot of mistakes.
The final standings of the Missouri Valley, we knew North Dakota State had everything locked up. South Dakota ends up finishing second. The Coyotes could be in contention, maybe for a seed, a top 8 seed, depending on what happens here.
I left them for dead.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
we all
after
did.
we saw them in the Fargo Dome, and it wasn't just that game though. To me, it was they were squeaking by Indiana State. They squeaked by Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
They did, and they just continue to find
by UND.
Right, they just found ways to win football games, and here they are at number 2. And yeah, to me, it's like if you're the second in the Valley,
right.
you almost have to be a top 8 seed, but this has been kind of a weird year for the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
See the rest of the standings there. That'll wrap it up for us here in year 5 of televising Bison football. I can just tell you, working next to this guy here, I learn everything. I have such a blast doing this, man, and I can't wait for the playoffs. It's going to be great.
Great, man. Yeah, appreciate it, Dom.
Final score of the game, North Dakota State 62, the University of St. Thomas 7. You're going to see the names of the talented people that make our broadcast possible. We thank them for their efforts this entire season. Our thanks to Sam Getzinger for on the sidelines. Our guy Grant Hubbard up here for spotting. For Kyle Emanuel, I'm Dom Izzo, repeating the final score. North Dakota State 62, St. Thomas 7. The Bison will be the number 1 seed in the playoffs tomorrow. Bison Postgame Live is coming up in minutes on WDAY Plus. Bracketology show coming up later tonight. Thanks so much for watching all year, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your college football Saturday.